Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
And as much as you can. Guerrero, high in the air to deep left field, and that one is gone.
Another 1-2, and Sale got him. Career strikeout number 2,500 for Chris Sale. Only the 40th in Major League history to reach that mark.
McConnell down low, Shannon will defend, fencing him off, ball out of bounds, nice defense by New York, the Knicks have the ball. Brunson with a three, got it! And the foul. And the foul. 29 for Jalen Brunson. They have, and that's just a giveaway right there. Halliburton fakes, drives, swatted away by Robinson.
Vrzal's got two first goals in this series. Evan Bouchard has one. Look at the run in front. Scores! Corey Perry from Connor McDavid. And they strike first again. Back into the Oilers zone. Edmonton scoring on the first shot. The 10 here. And Denmark scores! What a feed from Victor Arvidsson. And Edmonton has a 2-0 lead.
Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Central Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
How we doing?
Oh, we're doing all right.
Feeling a little muffled.
Yeah, it doesn't sound ideal. I don't know what's going on here. People messing with our stuff again.
No, you're gonna be all right.
You gonna be all right?
Yeah.
What's that?
What's that?
How was Caleb's birthday?
It was good. It was quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Have fam over?
just kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maya came by and of course Zoe lost her mind. Then Zoe took a whooping from her brother Breeze, and Caleb bailed her out. She went back for more, got trounced again. Ate some steaks.
Yeah.
It was chill. He's spoiled, man. I mean, he got like, those the ever popular strawberry wedding cakes from Wheatfields.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He was going with the everything but bunt strawberry,
Oh yeah.
but somehow that got switched up.
Mm.
And then just sat around and yacked.
Did
Talked.
your mom come over?
No, she didn't. They kind of do their. I think he's going to see her today.
Gotcha.
They talked earlier in the day. I don't know what their plan is. It's the cool thing about those two.
Mhm.
They don't need.
Those do their own thing.
Yeah, they don't need me. Like, Caleb can go by there. They definitely don't need me. So we argued a little bit about hoops. Jalen Brunson versus SGA.
What's the argument there?
Who has the more degree of whose style is less appealing?
I'll just like to watch.
Yeah,
because there's no debate about who's better.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
clearly.
Okay. I was
Clearly.
concerned for a minute.
SGA is an elite
Yeah.
company as an MVP Finals guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it? It's 4?
I think so. I think that's right.
Yeah, and they're all pretty good. And one of them is your guy Wardell.
That's right. I'm aware.
Of course you are. You had some good food. I
did. Yeah.
Listen, I'm a little jealous.
Listen,
When
you
I-
had the
when-
invite.
I know.
Okay.
But I told you. It's
I know.
like
It was bad timing
I mean
with the birthday. It was tough
yeah.
timing.
But that's the spot. Like anybody that has listened to me for however long.
Yeah.
I am a Brazilian steakhouse guy.
Yeah, we can say the name because they're riding with the company, so it's cool.
And we've got another good friend of mine that we brought on board to do their endorsements.
Oh, yeah.
Kia.
Yeah, that's
That's my man Heath.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Car
yeah.
dealership. He hit me up. He was like, "Let's go. It's about time." It's like, "Hey man, I've been trying to tell you." Like, that's like it's
Yeah, so the
but he fits the criteria. You haven't met
I don't know him.
He fits the criteria of what you talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like kind of sarcastic,
A little piece of cheese guy.
little chippy,
Maybe a little bit of a jerk.
but I mean hilarious, hilarious.
Yeah.
He's a big guy, and he wanted to race me in the 40, and he put on like these long socks and Santa hat.
He knows you did this like professionally, right?
Yeah, our kids play. He's a great dude. Like, the whole family's cool. So his son Owen and Caleb were boys, and Lewis Central guy. So they're same age.
Okay.
And, yeah. So I'm happy about the car deal. I'm happy about the restaurant.
Yeah.
When I heard D Hop's voice, because I heard at one.
Did a cool video with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, all Ravi had to say was Brazilian steakhouse. I would have at least contemplated it. You said it so fast. I almost confused it with Oscars.
Oh, well, we had that going on last night,
And I
too.
was like, what did he say? And you go food and drinks. And I'm like, they don't serve food.
Terra Gaúcha.
Gaúcha.
I thought it was Gaucha. It's not. It's Gaúcha.
It looked incredible.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah,
and I know
the answer to TK's question, not to pee in Sean's Wheaties, because he doesn't like when we talk about food. TK, I drive to Kansas City just to go to Fogo de Chao. I am on their mailing list.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine.
Yes. I took the kids.
Really?
Me, Mosman, Trey, Kobe, Nick, took Caleb. Like, it's not a place you take kids because they can't even get the $60 worth.
Right, like you can't get your money's worth there.
Yeah, we sat in there. I told this story. Fogo de Chao, TK, is the only place that I made a conscious effort to use the restroom in public.
To make sure you have room?
So I could reload and sit another hour and a half. And I bragged about their restrooms.
Yeah.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what?
That's an underrated like part of a restaurant is.
I think I'm going to stay a while. I'm pretty sure it was 3 hours.
Just camp out. Whoa.
If they were paying attention, they probably would have put me out.
Yeah.
But it was one of the rare times that I ate and drank, so they're probably like, oh, this dude's getting drinks.
Yeah, you keep getting the money there.
Because usually I don't.
One or the other.
I don't do both. My bar, D-Night, this dude, he'd drive to Fogo de Chao on a humbug and come right back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to drive as far anymore.
No, I'm definitely.
You gotta check them out. It was phenomenal.
I like the fact they went with some folks that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
When
I
start hearing accents.
Oh, it was authentic. The guys because there's only 5 of them.
Who rolled the horse?
They brought it in. They was part of the grand opening thing.
This is my horse. My horse is amazing.
They had like authentic Brazilian dancers there. They did, but the guys that founded it are from like they're legit.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people in management are like the same thing. It's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Like a lot of the managing partner that talked last night is from Brazil.
So here's the key.
Mm-hmm.
It's seasoning.
Yeah. Oh, it's really good.
Because I get it. It's supposed to be kind of neutral because
all things to all people.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
listen, if you're gonna do it, go do it. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna be a Brazilian steakhouse, go do it. Spice it up Brazilian style. It was phenomenal though. And I know you're not I know you're going to be there for the meat. You don't want to fill up on sides. The hot and cold bar were
I don't mess around.
Incredible.
Yeah, the first probably 3 times I went in.
Incredible.
They probably got me.
Yeah.
And then Caleb was like 10 on the third time I went. 10. Mm-hmm. So he's been doing this a while.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I don't need that much candy bacon. Don't need that much cheese. Certainly don't need that much pepperonis. It's not really pepperonis. It's like prosciutto.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, they have the whole kind of charcuterie thing there. Oh man. Although they had some good cheese there.
Listen,
they had some good cheese.
You're gonna laugh because it's kind of what people do when I talk about my eating habits. But you know, I put cheese on everything.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Notoriously cheese, Chinese, the whole deal.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's fine. Moving on.
It's fine.
It's cool.
That's fine.
Kung Pao chicken, extra spicy, no veggies, mushroom only. $3 extra shrimp. So it's shrimp and chicken.
Okay.
Get you a little sharp cheddar, a little hot mustard. Mix that thing up.
Nah.
Fire! But listen.
Nah.
I'm the dude.
Yeah.
That gets the cheese.
You put cheese on everything.
And waits for my meat to be sliced.
Oh, so you're waiting to.
And then I put it on the meat,
That's
and I
thinking right there.
knife and fork that thing.
Yeah,
It
was
is
really good.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever had Manchego cheese and lamb chops.
Ooh, not with lamb chops. That's incredible.
I'm telling you, man, your boy.
They did have some good Gouda last night. You don't like it.
I'm a connoisseur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in there.
Yeah, they had like a whole Gouda plate. It was nice. It was good.
Count me in.
But so I'll have to go check it out sometime. Todd says opinion on restaurants that don't have prices on the menu.
I'm not a fan.
I don't love it either.
I understand. I know what I'm walking into, but I'd like for you to at least ballpark it. Shoot, sometimes I struggle with market price.
Me too. So here's the thing.
I'm not a fan.
There's some nice enough restaurants that I've been to.
I'm sure it would be macho for me to say, I don't care. I'll pay whatever.
I want to know what I'm getting into.
I'm not a big surprise guy.
I like knowing what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
Right. And there was nice enough
Don't matter to
places
me.
in Omaha.
It does, Shador.
That still put their price on the menu. And like if they can do it, you can do it. All right. You're not above it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not my fave.
No.
I wonder if I have anything in my email from Fogo today. Father's Day's coming up. I guarantee you they emailed me.
Send you something.
Guaranteed.
Send you a little something. How was the sports watching last night?
Man, fair to middling.
Yeah.
Pretty disappointed in Dallas, but considering their coach was a buffoon, I am not surprised.
So I was trying to do a little deep dive on Edmonton, right? So I'm watching, and I'm watching the Connor McDavid thing, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, I need you to give me, since I'm not huge into hockey, I need you to give me a corollary of who he is, whether it's a basketball player, another sport.
McDavid?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I need so I can understand, because I watched some of the stuff, and then I watched last night, and then I kind of looked up some highlights to get a better feel for, because I'm going to try and dial in on this Oilers-Panthers series.
The easy thing for me to say for a comp is a little low-hanging because I don't know if he scored enough.
Okay.
But the comp is magic.
Okay. Just like his ability to navigate through.
He makes everyone better.
Okay.
He's virtually unguardable. You have to hope he's not scoring.
Mm-hmm.
But he scores better. If Jordan was a little bit better distributor, he could be Jordan.
Okay.
He's incredible. He's affectionately been dubbed McJesus. He's incredible.
Okay. Well, I was trying to figure out, like, within the context
if
of
Magic
the sport.
could score a little better.
Yeah. Probably
If
Magic.
Magic was going for like 26, 27 a night.
Because he topped it, what, like 1920?
Yeah. And McDavid's, he's scoring
more prodigiously than that.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. All right. That helps.
I'm telling you.
Because, the way he moves on the ice is crazy.
He can get to any spot on the ice he wants to.
He also, and I almost went soccer with this because the way
he had a mistrial in a murder case.
No, but
allegedly murder. How are caregivers involved in being negligent with taking care of a dude?
A lot of times there's money involved.
So did you know why that trial was declared? Did you know why it was declared?
I didn't get into it with the Maradona thing. No.
Yeah. One of the 3 judges participated in the documentary.
Yeah, it's probably conflict of interest.
Like you'd think you'd know better, right?
Can we get out on that? Can we get ahead of that next time?
Wouldn't you?
You would think. I don't know. Sometimes lines get blurred and people are like, well, no, I'm sure it's fine.
Robin Thicke?
Yeah. Not Allen.
Well aware.
It's his son.
Different type of thickness.
No, it was because the thing that I noticed with McDavid a lot when I was watching the highlights is like he goes end to end a lot more than it seems like happens regularly in hockey.
Yeah, he free skates quite a bit. It's the speed with which he plays.
That was the other thing I was going to ask. Is he actually faster than everyone else?
Yes.
Or is his puck handling so good that he seems faster than everybody else?
But he's
actually faster than everybody else.
He is amazingly fast.
Okay. So it's
like kind of one of his attributes.
It's kind of like a John Wall, Derrick Rose thing in terms of like, no, he's actually just faster than everybody else.
And I know you don't really get into this, but Dallas is a pretty good goaltender in Jake Ottinger, right?
Yeah.
And you're a big coach, tell me the truth, accountable kind of thing. How you feel about this?
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
This is from DeBoer, their coach,
Mm-hmm.
Shane's favorite. Get this, Shane. I didn't blame it all on Jake. But the reality is, if you go back to last year's playoffs, he lost 6 to 7 games to Edmonton, and we give up 2 goals on 2 shots in an elimination game. That's a pretty big sample size.
Well, Jake will probably be the Olympic goaltender.
Dude, he's a franchise goalie.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy.
And not in like a Hellebuck kind of way.
Like, I'm like, hey, DeBoer, why is your offense so suspect? And why are you so predictable? And why can your teams never score? Like, he's trending too.
Yeah.
You joking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he rolled his. Is that what you wanted Patino to do with old Mr. Lewis?
No, there's a difference between being like, hey, this guy sucks against this team.
That's a pretty big sample size, he says.
That's rough.
Who says that?
Apparently DeBoer, not Caitlin.
Coaches are tough. Tough.
Listen, it's okay to just say, hey, he wasn't playing very well. You can leave it at that.
But you're not I mean, you afraid to say anything to Rantanen?
I mean,
I get that dude off the milk cart.
So that's the thing, right? That's the difference between that and what I'm talking about. I would like you to be honest about everybody, including yourself, not just rolling a guy. Now, if a guy specifically gets talked about or asked about, sure. But within the context of that question, be like, yeah, we really didn't score enough either. And, a lot of that's on me. I'm not helping them create good enough opportunities, or I'm not putting the lines together right, or like whatever it is. Like, I need you to be honest about the whole thing, not just like, yeah, our goaltender sucks. Yeah.
Is it okay to do that, to bus roll somebody if it's like after the first game?
Nah, he knows he's on his way out the door. Get his ass up on it.
Yeah, that feels like a parting shot more than a truth.
He's in a guys to go situation.
Truth and accountability.
Hey, of the 3 stars, if I give you Dallas's, which is Robertson, obviously with the 2 goals, who are the other 2 stars for Edmonton, Shane? Who was the 1 star?
The guy on the other line that scored, that McDavid.
McDavid was the 1 star.
Perry.
Who's the 3 star?
Is it Perry?
No, Corey Perry's like 54 and still putting in work in hockey, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because I think he kissed the cup with the Ducks way back when.
Yeah.
We were just a pup. Yeah, Perry's still playing. Who was the 3rd star?
I don't know.
Shane, I talk about him. He comes up every show for some reason because apparently he is just way better than everybody else in playoff time.
Who you got, Shane?
I don't know.
It's Draisaitl.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, how about you figure out your defense?
Yeah.
When you're busy railing your goalie.
Yeah.
Mr. DeBoer.
That's kind of the other thing is, and soccer and hockey have this in common. A lot of times you put your goalie in a cannot win situation.
What's happening
what's happening in front? Yeah. I think it's worse in soccer because the goal's so much bigger. Like some of those guys are just left helpless, right? Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of things you can do as a defense to put your goal in a terrible position.
Are you excited about the potential of?
He's only 40, Corey Perry.
It's pretty old to be playing hockey the way he does.
Yeah, to be skating around like that.
Yeah. I can't wait to talk to him. We got Vrzal late, and he's not gonna give me anything I want for radio or for the pod because he hates Caleb Williams. But this is very interesting how the last week since camp is open, that the Bears are a thing now.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, if Caleb Williams can be good,
Ben Johnson's response to the narrative, then
and
Caleb's
and the whole thing,
then
the Wickersham book,
then Caleb's response to the response, and then it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And now this morning, is Caleb Williams the right quarterback for the Bears? This guy's played 1 year, had a heck of a rookie year.
It's pretty good.
And you guys, this guy gets scrutinized. It's unbelievable.
He gets killed. I don't really
I don't get it. Is he a turd or is this?
I think people don't like how he comes off. I think that's.
But his teammates apparently like him.
Yeah.
I don't.
People don't like how he comes off.
I wish I could get a straight answer from him.
You know what? I mean, you know what his stats were last year? I know they were 5-12, but
roughly
the numbers were pretty good.
Yeah, was he 22-7 guy?
26.
Okay.
20-6. 3,500 yards.
Yeah.
62.5% completion.
Yeah. I mean, I
Out
get
of a
it.
rookie QB?
Listen, hey, Bears fans, don't come at me because I'll talk football with you all day long. I get the fact the improv and the holding of the ball drives Bears fans crazy.
Well, okay.
I understand that.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest about the situation.
He was sacked like 68 times.
If they thought he was a Chicago tough guy, they'd deal with the run holding on to the ball too much a lot better.
Yeah.
They don't like how he comes off.
Yeah. I think that's
a huge part of it.
That's a Matty thing too, I bet.
Oh, it's 100%. He doesn't think he's tough enough for the city.
Yeah.
Which maybe is. I don't know, but he was pretty good last year.
I'm pretty happy about.
How many teams in the league right now would take?
And I don't like Chicago, so
yeah.
I'm definitely not
like rooting for them.
Openly rooting for them, especially with the Vikings in that division, who I do kind of have an affinity for.
And McCarthy, you've kind of been on him.
But I'm kind of hoping. I mean, I'm cheering for Caleb Williams over Jordan Love. I mean, no disrespect to my man Young Jakob.
Oh, for sure, though. I mean, I have no vested interest.
Oh yeah,
in
you've
Jordan
been
Love.
hating on.
Not hating on him. I just didn't understand the extension at the time.
Well,
listen, he's a good quarterback.
That's what
blew
blew up the chat when you had to talk Purdy.
At least Purdy has a little track record. But anyway.
Hey, by the way, when it comes to the NHL and to the NFL, are we going to have two different sports there that are going to have a run with the same two teams at the top?
Probably not with the NFL. That's not how the NFL works.
I don't know. Chiefs, Eagles. Chiefs have been running it for the longest time.
I don't know, man.
History says
that's
no.
I'm just going on history. History says no.
Recent history.
Yeah.
Because 80s and 90s and 70s were pretty.
Yeah, it was Cowboys, Steelers.
And the early 2000s had a lot of Patriots. So hold on with the NFL says no, because we have seen teams make.
Usually it's
runs.
one team at a time, though. It's not the two.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say.
And
like
the Eagles are.
If you get a dance partner, that's rare.
It is.
But to see one team.
Like you're not going to have.
You're like, who's really surprised if the Chiefs are back?
I'm not, but it's not about the way. It's just about how the way the season goes, right?
Right, but who's surprised if the Chiefs or Eagles are back?
Individually, neither. If they both are, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
That's just not how the seasons tend to go.
Yeah, but again, the question is,
if you want me to bet on one of them to be back, I'll take one of them all day. I don't care which one. If you are asking me is it going to be a Super Bowl?
That's weird, though, because why would you – just because it doesn't happen?
Yeah, you just don't get a ton of Super Bowl rematches back-to-back years.
Well, who's the best team in the NFC?
Probably the Eagles.
Okay. Well, who's likely one of the best teams, if not the best team in the AFC?
I mean, one of the best.
So you just have to be telling yourself, well, this is Buffalo's year or this is Baltimore's year.
Yeah.
Okay. Because logically, you could easily draw the conclusion that it could be a rematch.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm not saying it can't be.
Because they have played twice in 3 years.
I'm just saying historically it's not that common. Yeah.
It wouldn't be like super far-fetched.
Historically, it's not that common.
Yeah. Unless you're Steelers and
I mean, yeah, we're going
Dallas.
a ways back now, though.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even – like the 80s were 49ers, but they were playing different teams most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Early 90s Cowboys, you had – Cowboys Bills a couple times, but you got a lot of variance there besides that.
Fudge, I rabbit hole. I don't know why this maybe it was it TikTok?
Probably, if I had to guess.
I don't know. I was watching Dallas. I was watching 94 Cowboys and Niners.
Ooh, the NFC Championship game?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Fudge, Rice cut them up.
Yeah. He was pretty good.
Caught a jump ball, too.
Yeah, which he didn't do a lot of.
No.
Not a lot of contested catches.
Oh, I was like, huh. And he scored on it. But
I know you're a Jerry Rice hater. It's fine.
Unequivocally not true. But you know what preceded it?
What's that?
The Dallas Emmitt Smith infamous shoulder game, which I forgot went to overtime.
The dislocated shoulder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dallas inexplicably just not only did they hand him the ball, they threw him the ball.
Didn't he have like 40 touches in that game?
I'm like, I didn't know it went to overtime.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, Giants tied it up like milliseconds at 13 with a field goal.
Did you follow it up with that classic 49ers Chargers Super Bowl? Just watch,
Nah, I told you about that Super Bowl though.
watch my guy, Steve Young.
Made this.
Nah.
It's the one sporting event that I picked to watch with a girl. It turned out to be kind of whorish. Not good.
Didn't know Natron Means got around like that.
Hey, you'll figure all this out.
Pick the bros next time. Wow. What a debacle.
Not a big Stan Humphries guy.
You make me laugh. You make me laugh. I'm just hoping for a Game 7 so I can see Spike Lee and Reggie Miller argue again.
I'm just hoping for a Game 7 for Rico's mental health.
I want to cheer for Rico.
He was struggling.
Although he wants me to take him and Austin, I'll take you, Rico. I don't know about Austin. Austin's still sleeping with the enemy. And he's kind of sleeping with the enemy. And he's hard on my man Jacob yesterday. I didn't like that.
And catching some strays out here too,
Yeah.
You gotta be careful.
I didn't like that.
I'm gonna be honest. This Hawaiian punch isn't very good.
You're a child. That's what I wanted to say, but I wanted to say that
They didn't have the flavor I wanted. I had to audible.
Listen, don't
I had to audible.
Listen, don't make it just about the C4 Hawaiian punch. I mean, you're over there eating Pop-Tarts, okay? So
I haven't eaten them yet. There's over there.
So let's chill with that.
Blood sugar's a little higher than I wanted it to be this morning, so I'm waiting on the Pop-Tarts.
What are we doing?
Well, it's Hawaiian punch.
Pop-Tarts and Hawaiian punch,
Well,
C4.
I felt like I had a good game. I wanted my treat after the game. It's like Little League all over again.
What'd you eat last night?
So I ate a lot. I'll be honest. I went heavy on sides. Here's the thing. I love sides though. That's like
I don't want to judge. I'm just like.
I mean, I feel like you do.
But why?
No, but so they had. They were. I had never seen this at a Brazilian steakhouse before. They were cutting off pork belly. And I love pork belly.
I saw that at Costco the other day. I didn't love the price, but it's pretty good.
It was. I'm a huge pork belly fan,
and I can do a lot with pork belly, but I just didn't feel right. I'm not gonna buy anything pork for a while.
Sure.
But it looked. I mean, they had it stripped off already too.
Yeah, so they're stripping off the pork belly, which I'd never seen before, and that was phenomenal.
Did it? Okay, can I get into a little of the texture?
Sure.
Did it have any? Was it crisp?
Yeah, it had a crust on it.
Okay,
it was really good. It was really good. They had a Parmesan little pork loin that was good.
Yeah, your team Parmesan.
Yeah, I am for sure. And then they had some like chicken wings that were really really good on there. But I hadn't seen this either. They had some seafood that they brought around. So they brought around shrimp.
That's the thing. When Hoppin said seafood, I'm just like,
that's a game changer.
I've never seen it.
So they had
you can get the cold shrimp usually in the
cold bar.
The cold bar.
Yeah, so they had hot grilled shrimp coming out, and then they had grilled salmon come out too, which was really really good. Because I took my wife and she's pescatarian, so
I saw the picture. That was cute.
Had plenty to eat.
Yeah,
which was great, and she didn't just have to stick to the bars, to the hot and cold bar. I will say though, they had. I know you're not a big sides guy, but they had. I love scalloped potatoes.
Me too.
Like that's really really good scalloped.
I like. Listen, don't get it twisted. I love a lot of sides. I just think they're a waste.
Yeah. Well, we were kind of being treated too, so I was,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sitting here telling you I don't like mashed potatoes or I don't like scalloped potato. Now there are a lot of sides I don't like.
Yeah.
Right? Like not a big macaroni. Like
I'll mess around with some good macaroni. I love macaroni.
I think it should make the all overrated picnic list.
And I know you aren't I know you don't like cornbread. They had.
How are we still? We're on cornbread too. So Canny got this started nationally.
They had the best cornbread I've ever had in my life.
Really?
It was so moist. Because that's your thing. It's always dry, right?
I hate cornbread.
It was so
I grew
moist.
up on cornbread.
Oh my God, it was so good.
I think it's disgusting.
I didn't even put anything on it.
Cornbread is so bad it almost got me to never buy a skillet because that's the association I made.
It was phenomenal.
What good comes out of a skillet now? I swear by my skillets.
Yeah,
because it was.
You cook a lot of meat on your skillet, right?
Yeah. Have you seen the cooking Cajun? What we cooked today?
I think you've shown
it to the old guy.
I don't watch it, but
and he always goes that MF and cornbread. Super old dude.
Yeah. Cornbread was phenomenal.
Interesting.
Like I'm still thinking about it. It was really good.
The only thing that bugs me there, is parking can be a little hairy.
Once you're in the parking lot, it's not bad, but it's a little tricky to get in there.
I understand.
In that old Charleston's location.
Lived here my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell other people, if they don't know.
Some of them have to.
Maybe they don't live in different parts of town. Maybe they haven't been over there. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they weren't.
They're not familiar with the new Midtown.
Maybe they weren't big Charleston's people, so they didn't go over there now.
Because that is pretty Midtown.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, isn't it?
All the way out to Skyline and Gretna and all the way else out there.
Yeah, I think so too.
I know, Art. Shoot.
Pretty soon they're going to start calling UTAN Western Omaha.
What's that like? That starts about 243rd, right?
Yeah, it's not that far off.
Yeah, my buddy Bo lives out there. Not quite to UTAN though. I
have a friend that went to UTAN.
Yeah,
all the way out there. Came into Omaha as soon as they could.
Ain't that far.
No, it's really not bad. It's like when you're in like high school, college, it feels like it's forever out there, but it's not bad. It's like a 20-minute drive.
Yeah, I'm still kind of stuck on this 2-team thing that you were so quickly to dismiss.
I just don't think we're going to see in the NFL very often. Their rules are designed so it doesn't happen.
But the teams,
no bleep.
But the teams parallel a lot. The Florida is like the Chiefs, and Edmonton's like the Eagles. The Eagles and Edmonton are both on the come up, and they may not. Even if one of those teams doesn't make it to the championship the next year, it doesn't mean that they weren't the dominating team in their division.
They're both going to be good they're both going to be good
in their conference.
I just wouldn't be betting on them playing each other again this year.
And that wasn't the question. I was saying that.
Yeah, clarify. Get him.
I was saying that there's in each sport. It seems like there's 2 dominating teams in each one.
Might be a little ridiculous over there.
It's Friday.
Stylistically, wouldn't you make the Eagles more like the Panthers though, a little more physical?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
100%.
I was just asking.
But I do think the thing that people sleep on with the Chiefs is the physicality in which they play with along the D-line.
Yeah.
I think it's very underappreciated.
O-line was a little rough this year. They needed help there, especially by the end of the year.
They managed it. I wonder how dialed
they didn't manage it against the Phillies or against Philly.
Because if my homie is kind of dialed in and kind of locked, they're always
going to be good. I mean,
they got to figure out how to replace. And I'm not saying he's going anywhere. I'm not going to pull I'm not even going to give her the run, but I'm not going to. Some people like to say other people should be at training camp, even though they're not on their team yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that Kelsey is not in Kansas City. I'm saying they have to replace his production of his big years in Kansas.
Yeah, his prime years. Because he's not. He's clearly not who he was.
And I do know that Kelsey is still a Chief.
Yeah, still on the team
as of today.
And famously, Aaron Rodgers not on the Steelers.
Well, but
I can't stand her, so I don't give it any burn.
I don't know if you know this. He's not on the team.
Listen, when your boy is caught defending Aaron Rodgers,
yeah, we know it's gotten bad.
Somebody said something egregious.
We know it got off the rails.
Listen, I was floored.
Yeah.
And I wanted to choke Keyshawn.
What'd Keyshawn do?
Nothing, which was the problem.
Okay, that sounds like okay. I thought you were saying he said something. I was like, I missed that.
And I get it. It's different. We've had some guests.
Mm-hmm.
It happens all the time, right? They'll say something we kind of disagree with. That's an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
When they say something factually wrong,
yes,
you try to catch it.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work.
Even on the opinions, we'll push back sometimes.
But certainly when it's us.
Yeah, between the two of us.
Yeah, like we worked together. Like you like DB. No, it's 19.
Or like
it's 2020, man, not 2014. Like, what do you think? I was like, oh man, I get all my years confused.
Yeah. Or you mixed up a name the other day, and you're like, oh yeah, that's my bad. It was the OC
Shula and Logan.
Yeah. It was the OC for South Carolina.
Yeah. You checked me, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh no.
Mid-interview.
I got Shula. Yeah, you did. You're like yelling.
You're like, I think it's Shula now.
Like you said it like you were my producer, and nobody else could hear you.
I was trying to be subtle.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know.
Yeah, this thing is on.
But I'm never subtle about Omaha. Do you remember those ads?
Yeah. It's my old neighbor.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. The whole family.
I had no. Those. I mean, listen, it's good advertising. It's stuck in my head like a decade later.
They're probably 3 minutes from me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I grew up with Amber and Adele.
Oh, nice. That's super funny.
And not hello.
Oh.
That's not even my. I don't even know why I go to that with her. That's not even my favorite song.
You big Rolling in the Deep guy?
No, that's not my favorite song.
I'm gonna guess you like a deep cut that's not on the radio.
No, it's popular.
Is it?
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Easy.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like rolling in the
Zoe
deep a
knows
little bit.
almost every word of that song.
That sounds about right.
And she knows it's followed by Teddy Swims on the playlist.
She's like, where Teddy Swims coming up next.
Yeah. So do you want to let that go?
Which one?
The two teams?
I mean, I can if you want me to. I
don't know if you want to. Are you okay? Are you just saying,
I don't feel strongly enough about it to like have a knockout drag out.
Okay, no, but are you just saying the league structurally wise is built to not have
Yes.
Okay.
Like they don't want it to happen.
Because it does happen.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Structurally, they try and make it not happen.
What it is good at, what the league is good at, is allowing you like all of a sudden your Raiders they're going to be topic worthy.
They're a commodity.
Well, the difference between the two leagues is you can reload faster in the NFL. You can do it quicker.
100%.
So the
Bears will be good again before the Blackhawks.
So runs are shorter and on both ends, right? Yeah. Typically, like you're good for a shorter. Like 2 years ago, I could make the argument that the 49ers were the best team in the league, even though they lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs. Like they had that thing, and then all of a sudden, a year later, it goes, "Oh man, are they in a rebuild?" Like that's how the NFL goes a lot. And that's because it's designed to go that way.
And a year later, you're going to hit the over on the Niners win total.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
They're going to be better than you think.
I hope so. I mean, if Purdy's the guy that I've been telling people he is for the last couple of years, then they'll be better.
You watch.
I actually really liked their defensive draft this year, too. I thought they did a good job. And I really like Saleh. Like, the defense has been slowly eroding since Saleh left. Him being back is a huge deal that people aren't really talking about. Like Robert Saleh is really good at being a defense
How
coordinator.
old is Warner?
Fred?
Yeah.
He just re-signed. I don't remember how old.
Is this the second or third deal though?
I think it's his third. I thought, but I'm not sure.
I'm
checking right now.
No. What I was gonna say is,
He's only 28.
Okay.
So this must be his second. This must be his first big deal.
So we had the conversation because Levante David was just at practice with us, one of the last Nebraska spring practices. And Levante David had this super long sit down with Mina Kimes. And he typically doesn't do those, but he was kind of in his element, chilling, and and it was cool. And so we just happened to kind of be watching, and it was funny that Caleb was like, "Hey, we were watching a lot of Levante David's clips and highlights in meetings," and he was
because Eckler's been doing that. Has had him been doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's who was doing it.
That was like Eckler's guy. It was Devontae.
And he's like, wow, and he's equating it to the years. And Caleb's a big Fred Warner guy. And he's like, so how does he compare to Fred Warner? And I forgot how old Caleb isn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Warner's great. David's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I mean, Warner's likely on his way if he keeps this up.
So, but it was just weird that his frame of reference is in the moment.
Yeah.
Like, David has been great for 11 years.
Yeah. Which at that position is really hard to do. Really hard to do.
I mean, it's rarely ever done.
Yeah, you don't get that level of – I mean, talk about inside backers.
It's rarely ever done.
Like
he was giving me all the answers to the test in practice too.
Really?
Yeah.
Levante was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Study. He says study and stay in shape. Just study and stay in shape.
Levante?
I know on any given play there's only two guys that can block me. I pay attention to formation. I'm trying to beat that block. People laugh, but that's what it is. I said, man, that sounds a lot like Kuechly. He said, yeah, man, like that guy, like as a contemporary, the one dude that he holds in
like really high regard.
Yeah. He's like this guy, they would, obviously same division too. Like he'd watch Keek like beat pullers on a scheme and be in the fit before the puller.
That's because he knew it was coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
So it's just like, he's like, you don't have to work that hard if you do your work up front.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was like, man, you want to take me home?
You adopt me?
We could watch a lot of TV together. I like film.
We go watch film?
I like film. No, it was just, I like cheat codes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's a cheat code.
Well, and if you're gonna be that good at that demanding of a position for that long, you got to have some cheat codes.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't.
He told some great stories about Vita Vea and like it. He's like DB, dog. Listen. He get close. That man can drop and gain 30 like no problem. He said 1 week you may see him at like 340. Next week he may be he ain't gonna never be 310 DB, but you can tell. It's just, he just pays big. He likes Baker for the same reasons I like. He's like, oh man, you should be around him. It just was like, take me home.
Going on country roads on him.
Yeah.
Little John Denver.
My poor child's being corrupted too.
R.I.P. Which one?
Caleb took him to. He had his mom backed into him, so took him to get his car looked at, and we're driving. He said, "That's the first time I've ever driven you." He goes, "Do you like country?"
Who are you talking to?
Where you been? And who you been with? Right?
Been hanging out with the whites.
You used to tell me. No, that's not what I said.
Okay.
I feel some type of way about that, Ravi. Wow.
The white. Typically, that's the demographic that enjoys country. That's all I'm saying.
Just a year ago was telling me why I shouldn't listen to
Morgan Wallen.
No. Like Kendrick versus Drake versus this guy versus Gunna versus.
Now he's like.
And he's just all over the place.
I was like, hey, you like country?
And I kind of paused, and he goes, "What?" That's why all my teammates like me. I'm versatile. It's like, oh God, get out.
I'm saying demographically, country leans a certain way.
I don't know, man. You'd be surprised.
There's not a lot of Darius Ruckers in the business. That's all I'm saying.
Tell that to Ja'Cory Barney.
And some of those Florida dudes are country.
I'm trying to tell you.
You're right. Some of those Florida dudes are pretty country.
Trying to listen. Don't get it twisted. It ain't a white thing. I do like Zach Bryan though.
I'm just saying.
Quiet as kept.
If we did
the name Traven too.
If we did,
is that a real name or is that government?
If we did some of the demographic studies, it would lean a certain way. That's all I meant.
Do you like the name Traven? I like the name Traven.
Is it Traven or Trayvon?
It's an E.
Okay, probably Traven then. Yeah.
I don't know, but names don't always follow phonics.
Yeah, you're right. No, it's a good name.
I wonder if it's made up.
I wonder if it's a nickname like T Raven.
Man.
What?
I don't even recognize what you're doing. I don't. I really don't.
It's not like an AA Ron thing?
No, that's his real name.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, man, shout out.
There we go. You got it right. Traven.
Hurrdat.
Not T Raven.
See, I'm a cool dude, man. You should want to hang out with me.
No.
I'm only going to give you about 30 minutes. And then I got to shut it down.
Small doses.
Like, hey, man, why you stop talking?
I'm good.
I don't know.
Hit my limit.
We talk too much.
People do forget when you do this for a living. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I don't need to talk anymore.
Man.
Like, I'm cool.
And you're always thinking.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be, it's like.
It is kind of hard to, and I get what you mean, because I do this more than you do. Like, I'll watch games with people, but it is hard, especially, I've kind of gotten to the point where if it's a game I need to watch, then I really can't have any people around because I have to kind of process what's happening in real time. Especially when I'm like.
You're like constantly thinking.
Especially if it's not a Saturday football game and I'm not going to have time to rewatch it before the show.
Yeah.
Then it's like, yeah, I probably can't watch this with people. Like, I need to be able to lock in.
Everybody, oh, man, it'd be so cool to watch a game with you. I'm like, oh, no, it wouldn't.
You're like, no, it's work, man. I don't know what to tell you.
It's not fun. Hey, I think they're on about 8 plays ahead. Why is this thing paused?
Shh, don't worry about it.
I'll catch up.
Stay off of Twitter. Don't look at your ESPN app or whatever app you're looking at for scores.
That's why Josh couldn't get me to stream.
Yeah.
And he told me for 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, how are you paying $360 for DirecTV? You're an idiot. Well, he intimated I was an idiot.
Sure.
But Josh, he
probably said it too.
Probably said it, yeah.
Is that D-Lo?
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely said you were an idiot.
I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm just telling you. I was like, but the delay. He said, it's okay if you don't tweet every second. Damn, man. All right.
I feel like enough people are streaming now that like almost everybody's on the delay.
Yeah. But I still use the app. Like, I listen to B-Mac every day.
Yeah.
Or not every day. Every time.
Yeah. I also, if you're pausing it anyway, then it doesn't really matter if you're live or not.
Nah, man. Catch up. minus 57,
I will say
all that good stuff.
the unlimited storage is a game changer. I record everything.
So I need to clean that up.
Yeah.
I mean, I have by the way, Shane, that show wasn't The Good Wife. It wasn't the Margot
Juliana Margulies.
Her.
Yeah.
And
Of
you're
ER fame.
And you're going to be like, well, how'd you confuse the two? It was actually Kathy Bates. It was Harry's Law.
Yeah, they don't look anything alike.
Okay, zip it.
Don't get me going on this.
I thought we were going to at least have some similar features, but we do not.
Again. I'm going to nip this in the bud before this. Okay. So I tell you these things.
Okay.
And I always say to you, I know I made a mistake.
Okay.
And I'm trying to move on.
I'm cool.
And I know how egregious it was.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. It's easy to tell me how egregious it was. I don't think Cindy, what's her name again?
Juliana Margulies.
I said Cindy. Her.
Yeah.
Looks like Kathy Bates.
Okay.
I had woman controlling the courtroom in my head.
Okay.
Not that I think they look alike.
Here's the problem, though.
Oh, Lord.
Is I Googled her and showed you the picture, and you're like, that's it.
Because I knew she played a courtroom lady.
Okay.
A lawyer.
See, so I understand when you're coming to me hat in hand and you're like, hey, Ravi, I made a mistake. But the problem is I have to process it in real time, too.
Oh, boy.
And so I'm going to get through it as fast as I can. But
I knew it. See,
I have to experience it in real time. Also,
I knew this was going to happen. It was an honest mistake. I don't think Kathy Bates. Are they funny? Is the stream funny?
Sorry, David and Wyatt both got me back to back.
It's cute. It's cute. Harry's Law. Did you ever watch Harry's Law?
I did not. I saw commercials for it, so I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so Bernthal was a guy. He played a son that wanted the case retried, so he held the courtroom up. The guy that played Frank Castle.
Yeah, John Bernthal, I think.
John Bernthal,
yeah. I didn't know he did a TV run because he's mostly movies now, isn't he?
Yeah, I only know him from The Punisher.
Oh, he's in a lot of stuff now.
Yeah, now that I put two and two, because The Punisher was fantastic, and how that thing is on Disney, I have no idea because it is violent, dark. But all those shows are Daredevil, Jessica Jones.
Yeah, it was a weird. I know they were trying to bring every MCU thing under the same roof, but it's weird to call it Disney and be like, here you go.
Hey, The Punisher was amazing.
Hyper violent. And you're like, okay.
And I know you think that's why I like it, but it had great storylines.
No, so I didn't watch that one. I watched the original Punisher movie, which that was pretty good. I liked that one. I like the Punisher character. It's a good story.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah. We probably should take a break. We're going like an hour here. Coming up on the show today.
See, I'm all in on Traven. It's not just the name. He's got good taste. It was one of the, and I told you that.
Yeah.
And you said, I don't think I could sit through it. No, that first season, it was incredible.
Kyle says if he can't say something stereotypical, then I can't either.
Who, KB?
Yeah.
What did he say?
I don't want to repeat the thing he said that he doesn't want to, that he wants to be able to say.
KB got loose?
A little bit.
Today?
No, well, he first brought it a couple days ago, but he brought it back today, and I'm like, bud,
I gotta go back.
I'm just saying his is more anecdotal. I feel mine is evidence-based.
Okay, he's wild, though.
So just gonna say that. Coming up on the show today.
Now I'm curious. I got to go back and get it.
In 2 minutes, we're going to talk to Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska.
How did we go this long?
I don't know. We just got a little.
You can talk more Punisher if you want.
Nah, man. I like sports.
We're going to do
but Punisher's goated.
We're going to do a little college baseball regional whip around at 9 o'clock.
I like it. We got to get to KU and OU.
Yeah, which we've got. We got Brian Hanni. He's the voice of Kansas Jayhawks baseball. I think he's the voice of Kansas Jayhawks almost everything, but baseball is his beat today. We've got John E. Hoover, who covers Oklahoma for Sooners on SI. In the little special treat, we got Connor Onion, play-by-play voice for baseball on Big Ten Network. He was in Omaha here last week doing the Big Ten tournament. Also does some work with Fox Sports. So
pretty cool.
He'll give us the little rundown of some of the other Big Ten teams in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm distracted because I didn't realize we had so many we got
a lot of comic book people in the chat, it seems like.
Dude, my man Steven is in on Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be?
Let's go.
And then, of course, we got Matt Vrzal wrap up show at 9:45.
Yeah, he'll rain and pee all in my Wheaties.
We don't need peeing in Wheaties.
I'm not even going to gas him up. I'm going to try to be kind.
You're going to try and stay on the straight and narrow.
I'm going to be his.
So we're not gonna hit right out the gate with
I haven't seen him this week, so I did not get in trouble. And he hasn't reached out, so I haven't done anything wrong.
Okay, he's gonna be, he's gonna be mad that you haven't come see him this week.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
He'd be like, well, the phone works both ways, DB. You could reach out too. That's a pretty good verse.
That was pretty good.
Phones work both ways, DB.
Yeah, whatever.
So let's take a little break here. We'll get to Tim Verghese here in a second. I do also want to talk about my guy, Mike Leach, eligible for the Hall of Fame in 2027.
Not happy.
I thought it was a dumb rule change, but I'm happy he's eligible.
Just let him in and give him an asterisk.
Well, I don't need an asterisk. I do think the arbitrary win percentage is dumb, but now they just have a slightly lower arbitrary win percentage, which is not better.
I'm just telling you, Mike Leach greater than Jackie Sherrill.
Yeah.
But you don't have to let Jackie Sherrill in either, though.
Yeah, right. But also Mike Leach greater than Larry Coker, who meets the threshold at like 65% win percentage.
I understand.
So I think the win percentage in general is the problem, not the number that it was at.
Just as long as the voters do the right thing, I'm cool.
Yeah. Just do the right thing. That's your Spike Lee joint. We got Tim Verghese coming up next.
Guy. Not.
Here at the Oscars is we've got our own Hurrdat Sports, Anna Bellinghausen. And Anna, congratulations. You're up for Sports Media Person of the Year. You're the first female to be nominated. So many congratulations out. And, of course, our team, we're also supportive of you, and we appreciate all the work you do for us. What does this mean just to represent first yourself and then Hurrdat Sports as well?
It means so much. And I think just to be the first female to be a part of this award is huge. I think it's a giant step forward for women in this sports field, and also it means so much representing Hurrdat Sports. And also this award goes to every single woman before me, and just this nomination means so much to kind of see that come to fruition. I remember being a little girl looking up at the screen and seeing Samantha Ponder and thinking to myself, I want to be her. So to be on the path that I am right now, it means the world, and to be recognized amongst these peers and all these people that have supported me along the way, have my family here, have you guys here, it just means the world.
Give me that cheddar, weekend Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
Congratulations on your 100 win. Just what was rolling through your mind stepping up to that line?
I was super nervous. I'm not super confident in my start, so I knew it was like the whole race was kind of relying on that, and it ended up working out for me. Ran into the wind a little bit, which is all right, but you know what? Came away with the win, and that's all I really wanted.
Yeah. What does it mean to do this for your school as well?
It's amazing. I love my school. A lot of people like to, if they go to a small town, they're like, oh, I want to get out of here, but I love my school. I love my teammates. It's just so fun to, watch everyone win, watch everyone compete, and hopefully I get a chance to bring my school back a state championship as a team, so yeah. I'll contribute as much as I can for that.
Centris Federal Credit Union, we understand that the journey of building your own business typically starts with modest beginnings. With a little help from our team of experts and small business loan offerings, you can take your vision and transform it into a more concrete reality. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Our big game chain goes to Alyssa Anand. Alyssa, you win the triple, also the pole vault. Just take me through what a few days it's been here at State.
I mean, I absolutely always love coming to Burke. I get a huge crowd, and the electric atmosphere just absolutely ramps me up. I have a blast.
Well, one of the best moments, we think, was you hugging your coach, and he fell out of his chair. You guys were so excited. Take me through that moment, just the emotion there.
13 has been a bar that I've been chasing for a really long time. In the girls pole vault world of high school, at least, once you clear 13, that's a pretty serious bar to make. And so probably over a year and a half I've been trying to clear that bar. So for both of us to clear that bar in such a huge stadium with so many people, and I mean, I have so many family members that come to support me, just to have that moment was so huge for both of us. I mean, we put in countless hours practicing, and we love it, but to see it pay off in that kind of form is just so rewarding and obviously a little bit emotional.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you, make sure you've got those eyes focused and straight ahead when you're driving this morning. Even if you are listening to us, try not to get distracted. I know we can be a little distracting. Focus on what you're doing, driving, and keep those eyes peeled. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Big Lilo and Stitch guy?
No.
Yeah.
There's this era of sort of like the Disney movies that were after I was young enough to watch them that I just they didn't really hit with my nieces and nephews either.
I'm a big fan.
So
Zoe's a big fan.
Yeah.
We have group tickets for her birthday coming up next week.
Are you going to there's like a live action movie? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just Stitch, I think, gets a bad rap because he was nuts, but Lilo was a little badass girl. She was not well behaved.
No.
I'm like, why does she get a pass?
Yeah.
And we were down on Lilo, or Stitch. She wasn't very good either.
No. I don't know that I've seen it. It's in its entirety.
She's got T-shirts. She's got
the whole deal.
Yeah, when they said the movie was coming, I was like, we've probably seen Lilo and Stitch more than any movie except Moana.
Really? I think I did see Moana.
Moana is probably,
I think.
Maybe Maleficent is up there.
Okay. That's a live action one, right?
No, it's just a regular movie.
So that's
with your girl.
Oh, but it's like a real people movie. It's not animated. Okay, yeah.
Correct.
When that stuff comes out, like trailers and stuff, do you show those to Zoe, or do you totally avoid that until she figures out that it's coming out?
I avoid it at all costs until it comes out. I don't show her anything.
No spoilers.
I barely talk to her. Just saying.
That's probably why she identifies with which one's the girl, which one's the monster, Lilo or Stitch?
Lilo's the girl.
Okay.
Girl.
She probably if Lilo's just out here got an attitude all the time, she probably identifies with her like she's.
I mean, I guess.
She's like, oh, those are my people.
Wait, so TK said the live action is an abomination, so it's not good?
I've heard they've changed some storylines people don't like.
Oh man, I'm not that dude. I'm not Siskel or Ebert. Don't ruin it.
Yeah, no spoilers. Come on, man.
Really?
Come on, TK. No spoilers.
No, it's fine. Like I don't even know if I'm going. Do I have a ticket?
David saw it last week as well. He's got a ominous ellipsis in that tweet, in that text there. So I'm not sure if that's a good sign or a bad sign.
So so how'd TK see it so soon?
Are you guys going?
Don't know.
He said Tia Carrera looks rough. Oh no. Really?
Isn't that old news?
I mean, kind of.
Whoa. Shane just out here
off the top rope.
Isn't that old news?
When we're out here, right?
Damn. What'd Tia Carrera do to you, homie?
Nothing, unfortunately.
Oh.
Apparently, fortunately, if you're isn't that old news?
We have our guest here.
Dang.
Oh, Shane. I didn't know. Good on you, though.
Let's get to our guy.
Proud of you, little buddy.
Let's get to our guy, Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska here on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Central Federal Credit Union. What's up, Tim?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
TV, how we feeling, bud?
Hey, not too bad. Not too bad. How about you? Kind of ramping up for June.
I'm trying, man. I know we got some visitors coming in. I was trying to sneak a drone over so I could take a look at every square inch of the field, man. What was the feedback on one of the few places in America where people will critique the new turf and its paint and its layout, man? Where people move on from the new field turf or what?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it. I mean, for the most part, it's. I think people like the red. I think it pops. I think it's a fresh look. My one thing with it is like personally, it's just been like I would have liked a different end zone design. You know, like go with the script Huskers, go with something else because that would be unique, would be fun. I don't know. I just think the current font is a little like 80s, 90s coded. You know.
I like a little retro though.
I think a lot of people around here would love some 90s coded things happening in football.
That's fair. That's fair.
TV, we're like all in here on June. It's a huge recruiting month. Is it crazy to believe that in a day or two we're in a ripe month? Where'd the time go? Like,
I know.
So we're saying this, but are people is the fan base, do you think, panicking over how the recruiting's going, given that you blink and it is June right now?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, I know there's some like kind of freaking out about where things currently stand. I mean, like again, some recent developments missing, like not making the top group for Titan Davis, really tough. Like no way to kind of go around that one. That one's just an incredibly tough development. That was arguably the top target on the board. They're gonna have to pivot.
Like before we get to the other guys, like do you know what happened with the Titan Davis thing? Because it seemed like Nebraska felt like they were in a good spot.
Yeah, that's what's weird. The kid's tough to get a read on. He's one of those guys that keeps things close to vest. From what we've been able to gather, it largely just comes down to track record of development. And again, a lot of times when you get to this month and you see guys make changes to the visitor list, and it's like, oh, where did that school come from or whatever? It means typically what it means is there is a school or two out ahead for the guy. He's just trying to do his due diligence. So, for example, with Titan, I think it's Alabama and Michigan. I think it's going to come down to those two. I think it's ultimately going to be, I think Alabama comes out on top, but I think it comes down to those two programs. Penn State's going to get, their fair shot. USC is going to get a fair shot, but I do think ultimately it comes down to those two. I think with Nebraska, it's more of a, I need to see it. And that's part of it. I mean, we talked so much last fall about how important winning last fall and developing some guys and, having Ty Robinson go where he went this year was awesome. But, Alabama does that every year. Michigan does that, all the time, and so it's one of those things where it really just, I think, comes down to development, where he felt, the development track record had been there. That's not to say Nebraska can't do it. I think Nebraska can get there. And I really think a strong fall from a Keona Davis or a Williams and Minari could get Nebraska back in that recruitment. That's essentially where we're at in the cycle. Nebraska's having to prep for a lot of second recruitments. I don't think they obviously wanted to be in this position because it's harder to flip a guy than it is to just outright land him. but that's where they're at, is because they have to show some stuff on the field in the fall. And they kind of have, to get their ducks in a row from a recruiting board perspective, because there's been some changes this spring with the new GM, with kind of figuring out where to allocate resources, how to build out the roster, and how to work against this tight, roster number they're up against, where, like a school like USC, not really up against. USC is going to take 30 plus high school commits. Nebraska just cannot afford to do that.
Tim, with the kind of talking about second recruitments, do you think that's going to apply to kind of the guys that they really weren't in on or really couldn't get to where they wanted to last year, if this year goes the way they want it to? Like sort of like Williams and Winari, who they missed out on the first time, came back and got him after his first year at Missouri. Like, is there a group of guys you're keeping an eye on from last year's class that would fall in the Titan Davis category that you go, hey, if Nebraska goes out and like Keona Davis has a big year, or some of the wide receivers have big years, or whoever that you're looking at, and you go, okay, there's a chance that one could bounce back?
I think so. I think specifically along the defensive line, like it's a couple guys. It's like, oh, we'd like to revisit that. But again, we're specifically talking second recruitments out of the portal, where it's like a guy they wanted out of the high school class life cycle, now with another program here. It's all about relationships, and I think the fact that Terrence Knight and Tony White aren't there limits kind of the guys they can go after. But there is like there's guys at the top of, hypothetically, at the top of 26 sports, Nebraska is just not really in the mix for anymore. That, yeah, they string together some wins in the fall. You get that win over Michigan. You leave September undefeated. It's like, oh, that guy's scheduled to visit in October. That guy's scheduled to visit in November. Like, he's reinterested in Nebraska. That's where I think they're at. Is there's a lot of guys in this class that have mentioned they love Nebraska. They get to campus. They love the facilities. They love the coaching staff. They love all of this. They just need to see it. And they have options that have done it before. They have, schools that have like a multi-year track record of development and success. Nebraska doesn't have that right now. And if they can get to that point, the rest will take care of itself.
So it's interesting because I think I'm listening. I think Nebraska knows this. I think they're well aware of the.
Well, and you've said it for a while.
The prove it thing.
Yeah. Like if Nebraska gets to 9 or 10 wins, like I feel like, and you could tell me, Tim, like I feel like all bets are off if Nebraska gets to, like, whether it's 9 wins, 10 wins, whatever that number is, because it seems like all of these guys kind of love Nebraska. I'm sure there's some outliers, but it seems like everything we hear about it is, oh, these guys love Nebraska. It's just they're a little early.
So, and I think, Tim, like they're recruiting that way, where they know. Like I've heard it. They will listen. I know you guys are waiting for us to win. You got to trust us. We win with players like you. That helps. Like there's no identity crisis or false sense of security that Nebraska doesn't understand that that's where they need to be, which I think has allowed them to kind of establish the relationships because they're making it about things other than. It's kind of the what can we do for you versus what you can do for us kind of deal. And I think that's why they've been able to establish some of these relationships that may come back around for them because they're not operating under some guys that, I mean, there's some 10-win team. They understand that they've got to win.
Right, absolutely. And I think if you're someone like a little concerned about the recruiting class right now, I think two things to keep in mind. One, this coaching staff isn't delusional about where they are, what they need to do. And two, they're not going to just take a backup option just to get a guy in the class, just to be like, oh, we needed to address defensive line. We missed out on Ty Davis. We missed out on this guy. We're going to go find this guy, and we're going to do it. If they're bringing in a guy and they want a guy, it's because they think he can legitimately play at the Big Ten level. And so that's why, hey, okay, like they don't really have like a great, backup board set up behind like a Titan Davis or, like a Jordan Campbell right now. Like, but that's because of who the caliber of player they need to add this cycle, the caliber of player they think they can land this cycle. And again, they're not just going to compromise what they believe they need just to kind of address a need. And so, and like on that first point of just like not delusional, you're right. Like, the way they have approached this, I'll write something about this summer. The way they have approached this spring on the recruiting trail has been very calculated, and it's a risk that could ultimately pay off, but could ultimately, kind of blow up in their faces. The risk ultimately is they were very picky with the 26s they chose to bring in. It was guys that were mutually interested in Nebraska, regardless of the on-field results. Guys that, they feel they have a legit shot at landing, regardless of what happens in the fall. Now they're bracing for the June, and it's like, okay, they've got a group of about 25 official visitors, and of that group, they're probably going to land 10 to 12 ish, maybe. And so you look at the group coming in, you look at what they've done in the 26 class, you're like, oh, that's interesting. But it's like understanding they're working up against a tight number. They are essentially bracing for a lot of second recruitments with Jordan Campbell, with Nasir Rankin, with Ryan Mosley, with guys like it's like, oh, we were like, they knew, like Ryan Mosley gave a silent to Georgia back in April. They knew they've been out of that mix. They still wanted to get him on campus multiple times this spring because they know, hey, if we win some games in the fall and Dylan plays the way we think he is, you're going to want to come here. Like, you're going to want to be interested in coming here. That's the way they approach 26. The way they approach 27 is we're getting as many top guys as we can, as many of the top offensive linemen, wide receivers, tight ends, defensive linemen, like defensive prospects. And it's not done. That's not done. It's going to continue through June. We want to get them affiliate or interested in Nebraska and aware of what Nebraska has to offer, get them back in for a game in the fall. And if we're winning, these guys will jump on board. These guys will carry the momentum. So all of this, like you said, like a lot of this will take care of itself. It'll largely be in the 27 class, not the 26 class, because 26, they're just working up against a hard cap. But if they win some games in the fall, the 27 class is going to push for top 15, maybe even top 10.
Anything about, excuse me, Tim, before I get to the visitors specifically this week or in a couple weeks, anything about the schedule and the times of the kicks lend itself to kind of pique your interest or kind of say, oh, this could be an interesting weekend, or maybe not so much?
In just terms of games in the fall?
Yeah. I have to miss 2:30 till for football is a good slot time. Not necessarily so for getting guys in, but a good time for a marquee game, though. I don't mind the 2:30.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, the one thing I think they didn't want was an 11 or 12 because it's tough to get like national guys in that morning after playing a Friday night high school game. But 2:30, you have a little more flexibility to get guys in. Ideally they would have wanted 6, but 2:30, you get the opportunity to get guys in. And I mean, come that weekend, that 2:30 slate, that might be the best game in that 2:30 slate where national recruits are going to be watching that on TV. That's going to be on in the background, and that's going to be the first real like big test for Nebraska this fall. Their second real time on national television, right? Because the first one would be Cincinnati. Yeah. So first real. Yeah, I was like in a premier slot.
Houston Christian is FS1 at 11.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So TV. So what do you think? What are they going to do? What do you think happens with CJ? Nebraska was early. I mean, if not first, kind of. It's blown up since then. There could be this, I mean, I don't know. I could see Nebraska saying, hey, man, we did the best we could. I don't know. What do you think happens with CJ?
Yeah, I think it ultimately comes down to does he get out of, I think it's next weekend. Does he get out of next weekend, the Florida visit, or it's this weekend? Whichever weekend. I think it's this weekend. Whichever visit the Florida visit is, if they can get out of that weekend and he's still committed, I think that's a good sign. I think Florida State, of the 4 teams, are running in 4th. Objectively, I think Nebraska's still in 1st. Like, I think you hear final decision, you hear a guy that's committed is going on official visits. Again, there's a reason he stayed committed. He has had every opportunity to back off and reopen things. He stayed committed for a reason. And ultimately, I think Florida's the biggest threat. I think Penn State's like the school that, hey, they haven't gotten him on campus yet, but their DB's coach has done a really good job of making him feel wanted. He's been to his high school. He's been to a track meet. He visited him home. He's done a lot. He's made him feel wanted and kind of closed that distance, despite the obvious fact that he hasn't been up there. And meanwhile, Nebraska, like, even since landing him, has continued to recruit him like he's uncommitted, like he's the top of the board cornerback target, because he is. That's exactly what he is. And so we'll see. We will see what happens this weekend. If he comes out of this weekend uncommitted, goes to Florida State, goes to Penn State, or goes to Nebraska next weekend, makes it out to these visits, I think Nebraska's in a solid spot. I think Penn State, besides Florida is the school you're worried about the most. Florida State, sure, but like I think it would take like NIL there, like real NIL resources there to get over the top there, because Florida's pushed Florida and Florida State have both been like listen, you're closer to home here. Florida is significantly close. Like, no, not significantly, but Florida's much closer to home for him. And Florida also has like, a better outlook over the next couple of years in terms of potential program success to offer to him and a track record of development. So yeah, I'm interested to see how this weekend goes with him. But Nebraska's done everything they can to keep him in the boat. If he goes somewhere else, it's Nebraska. The only thing they can do, like you said, is just like we did our best.
Let me ask you something, TV, because sometimes I hear this a lot with recruits, and then sometimes the respective fan bases will throw this out too, and they'll say, well, it's closer to home, and generally speaking, or literally speaking, sure, but unless you're talking about driving, do recruits really discern between? And I'm not talking about going from California to Florida, right? But Nebraska's in the middle. There's flights that can get out. Is distance really a thing if you're not talking about being able to drive?
Not really. I mean, it just depends on where you're like. If you're battling,
like it, right? I mean, it's 2025.
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't think so, but if you're battling, the difference is like it's like when Nebraska was in the Big 12, and what they used to tell recruits in Texas was like, hey, we're not, you're going to come play at Nebraska, but a couple times a year you're going to be within driving distance of your parents. Like you're going to be, we're going to play at Texas, we're going to play Oklahoma State, we're going to play Oklahoma. Like you're going to be within driving distance of your family. You're going to be able to, going to see them plenty if they come to Nebraska. Like I think that's the difference. It's not about driving distance from the school necessarily, but driving distance from the games. Like, can you make it to the games? And right now, Nebraska's had success in South Florida. Nebraska's done a good job of making those guys feel comfortable, getting those guys' families around the program and making them comfortable up here. Other parts of Florida, it's not as easy yet. It's not gotten there. And so they're trying to break this cycle, like work their way into Central Florida. I think a strong statement would be, landing one of Danny Jackson or Devin Jackson or Danny Odom and keeping CJ Brunner in the class. That would make a statement to the big three in the state of Florida that, hey, Nebraska is like a power player in Central Florida, not just South Florida. And that's the big deal for me, is just the proximity to games. Because again, he goes to Florida, they're going to play Miami, they're going to play Florida State, they're going to play Georgia, they're going to play all these schools that his parents can get to within driving distance. He comes to Nebraska, what the closest game's like Maryland, at Maryland.
Tim, speaking of corners in this class, Darian Jones locally here has got a commitment coming up. He's got a lot of interest here as well.
Got his 5 schools to visit too.
Yeah, how are we feeling about Darian Jones now that the visit list is out?
Yeah, it's going to ultimately, I don't think you can count out Minnesota or Iowa State just yet. I think you can count out Kansas State. That's just me saying that right now. But I don't think you can count out Minnesota or Iowa State just yet. But I do think this ultimately just comes down to Nebraska and Iowa. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a toss up. But like, there's on Iowa side, I've talked to people that think he's coming in, like he's coming to Iowa, and then on Nebraska's end, Nebraska thinks he's coming. So I think it's truly like a split right now. I think if I had to lean one way, I think just Nebraska having Donovan, having the true closer proximity, and like something of a Addison Williams has done a really good job of making those guys feel wanted, and I think it helps that this isn't a recruitment where it's like, hey, he's being recruited by new defensive backs coach Addison Williams. He's being recruited by Addison Williams, but also his older brother is experiencing what it's like to be coached by that guy every single day, and is been able to pass along like, hey, this is what it's like. And both those guys really like Addison. So I think Nebraska comes out on top, but yeah, this is a true like 50-50. Feels like a 50-50 battle between Iowa and Nebraska.
I can't imagine how difficult this would be, because the family has grown up Hawkeye fans their whole lives, and your oldest son
goes to Nebraska,
which surprised, I think, everyone. Kind of how the recruiting unfolded with Nebraska late, and then Darian has the opportunity to go to the favorite school, but his brother is at the other school. I think it's going to be fascinating. I do like the fact that you brought up Michigan, because I know for a fact, I mean, Collins is good at what he does. Danny Collins, he's good at what he does. He's a good recruiter. They put guys in the league. I mean, Parrish plays a little bit different, But he was a freshman All-America, and I get it. Deep hole safety and center field. They use him differently. Good player though. He's going to play offense for him. Too in Minnesota this year. So I'm kind of with you where I would probably slot him like that. And the only reason I would put Minnesota ahead of Iowa State is because I know Iowa State is not real big. Not that I would know. Not real big on trying to pull local guys away from the home state because they haven't had success. So they don't feel real confident, in terms of how much attention it should get. So I'll be curious to see how.
Because they're dealing with more limited resources than some of these other programs.
Not as much as they just don't want to waste their time.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, I had a knockdown. I mean, it was an interesting conversation. Like, hey, we just haven't had good success with legacy guys. I'm like, just recruit him.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry, because they're good. I mean, Iowa State puts guys in the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
Minnesota puts guys in the league.
Yeah.
He's in the league. Like, it's. I kind of do like your order though.
Yeah, I kind of again. I
Allen,
respect.
he's a good recruiter.
Yeah, he is. I respect the way kind of Iowa State goes about certain things because they understand it's like, hey, we don't have a shot in this recruitment. We're not going to offer for the sake of offering, but we're going to find, like the guys that other schools aren't. We're going to find the value where other schools aren't. It's like, hey, Nebraska right now is recruiting at a certain level and approaching the board like a top 25 program. There's a lot of opportunity in Nebraska right now to get those guys that previously would have been, potential Nebraska targets, PWOs, guys Nebraska would wanted to keep in state. But as Nebraska tries to make this push for a top 25 team and starts to recruit like that, it's like, oh, and facing this 105 roster limit, there's guys that, in previous cycles, maybe they would have wanted, maybe they would have, thrown an offer out there. Maybe they would have been in for Barry Freeze, like they may have been there already, but they're not right now. And Iowa State, is kind of benefiting from that. And their long-term play is we can develop these guys and, get them to play at the Big 10, Big 12 level, and they can be successful. And they've had success with, again, they've had Benny, they've had guys Nebraska's wanted or Nebraska's had, Ben Brommer. Like, they've had success with Nebraska guys. So I think you're going to see their presence increase. But yeah, I don't know how many true head-to-head like Nebraska-Iowa State battles you're going to see, just because I think Iowa State recognizes that if Nebraska wants an in-state guy, they're probably going to get him.
Yeah.
So, Tim, I want to ask you this. We've been talking about sort of the quarterbacks per conference the last week or so. And I know we've talked to you a lot about kind of where we are slotting these teams and what you think, but I like your eye for evaluation, so I want to put this in front of you. If you're going with the Big Ten and the quarterback starters in the Big Ten, what order are you putting these guys in? Aller, Altmaier, Dante Moore, Julian Sayin, Dylan Raiola, and Mendoza. And let's throw Nico in there too, just for fun.
Okay. Off here, what I think is going to happen this year, I think Aller's one. I'm going to put Altmaier over Altmaier 2, just because the experience, veteran guy, like, and just what it like, again, I'm not saying for NFL, just for what college football, what it's going to look like this year.
Yep.
Aller, Altmaier, I think a push between, hey man, I'll say this. Ohio State isn't super confident in Julian Sayin.
I know I'm with you. I'm 1,000. I think there's % right. That's why I keep saying whoever starts at
yes. And I think both of those guys, whoever it is, whether it's him or Lincoln Kienholz, I think statistically they might be good, but if you're just from an eye test from who's the better quarterback in a game, I'm gonna put a couple guys over Ohio State's current quarterback situation just because of the uncertainty right now. I'm saying this now just off what I've heard over the last week. It wouldn't surprise me if Lincoln Kienholz starts a game or two, at least one game or two. Like, I wouldn't surprise me if, Sayin isn't the, for sure the QB1, if there is some QB controversy through the year. So we've got Aller, Altmaier, And then what is it? Mendoza, Nico, Dylan,
And
Sayan. Is that everyone else?
And Dante Moore.
Oh, Dante. Okay, I would put Aller, Altmaier. Nico's tough for me because I'm a big Nico guy and I love the traits, and I think UCLA, come down the stretch of the season, he can really put it together. But I'll bump him down. I'll put Mendoza there in that third spot. I'll put Dylan there. I'll put Dante there, and then Dylan, and then. But I think those could be reversed. I think Dylan is the type of talent that can elevate the offense around him, while I think Dante, while good and accurate, and I'm a fan of his, I think his game is more so elevated by the talent around him. And so it really just depends on how that pass catching room comes together. I'm a big fan of Kenyon Sadiq, big fan of Evan Stewart. I think DeCorian Moore, the freshman five-star receiver they got, is going to play a lot as a freshman. I think he's not going to be Jeremiah Smith level impact, but it's going to be Ryan Williams level impact year one. He's that kind of guy. So I think from a statistical standpoint, I could see Dante outperforming Dylan only off the fact that, hey, the system around him is going to elevate him higher than.
Sadiq's a good pull.
Yeah.
Sleeping on the fact he's healthy.
Right. So
good player.
Right, yeah. And then, I think you close it out with oh man, I think Ohio State over Nico right now, and that's again not a slight to Nico. It's just, again, we've talked so much about how good this conference is from a quarterback perspective, but yeah, I think that's how I'd put it. Is probably Nico last, just because it's the newest situation. He is still raw. There's some development there. He's going to take some lumps early in the season, in my opinion. And statistically, come the end of the year, there's going to be like, oh, that interception rate isn't great. The pass completion percentage isn't great. But we're going to look and be like, oh, his November was really strong, though. That's where I kind of slot Nico in. But yeah, I think Dylan can climb to 3, potentially, maybe even 2, but of that group. But yeah, right now I think that's probably where I slot them. Mendoza's is Mendoza the wild card for y'all, of that group?
Yeah, I think so.
But
he's a big. I mean, Mendoza, Nico. I think there's a lot of wild cards in that group because,
I think when you say wild card, I think that I feel better about the prowess of Mendoza with Cignetti than I do Nico in UCLA, because I trust Cignetti and what he does more at this point. That's why.
Yeah, that's fair. I also think it's a money year for Mendoza, and I don't think it's a money year for Nico. Nico, I think understands he can wait a year or two before declaring. Mendoza, I think, wants to be QB1 this class, and he's going to be battling Drew for it. I've been thinking about it this week, watching some Drew Aller film, because he's just been on my mind this week. He's such an interesting developmental prospect for me. We've seen guys in over the years where it's through DJ Lagway, for one, every year of high school, it's they got incrementally better, and then college, it's year one, it kind of starts the same way, and then it gets like that. Drew's high school career was very similar in that it was early on, it's oh, there's some tools there, and then senior year is where it really came together after some really strong flashes in his junior, where he was pushing for 5-star territory, and then the senior year came and went, and he was kind of one of the top quarterbacks in the class. I think Drew has that type of year. I think they supported him with weapons. It's comfort in the system. Year 2, or year 2 or year 3 with Kotelnicki. Year 2?
2.
Yeah.
2. Year 2 with Kotelnicki. And again, 1 year for him. I think Drew has a world-beating type year, kind of stamps himself as QB1 in the Big Ten, maybe even in the country. And I just think we're staring down the inevitable Clemson-Penn State national championship this year.
So let me ask you real quick, between the Power 2 conferences, we went through the Big Ten right now, so you don't have to order these, but this is the comparable group in the SEC. Garrett Nussmeier, Arch Manning, DJ Lagway, Lenore Sellers, and John Mateer. And if you want to go a sixth one, the next guy is probably Pavia.
Yeah.
So out of that group, for just college quarterbacks, not pro prospects.
Well, talk about proven versus unproven.
Which
I know.
Better?
I think right now, Big Ten, just from a depth perspective, I like every member of that Big Ten group more than I like that SEC group is really top heavy, but yeah, Oklahoma seems really confident in Mateer, but I need to see how it translates to the SEC before I believe.
Thank you.
They're really confident in him, and
so hard.
they've seen it. Like, I trust that staff. They've seen it. Like, every single one of those guys knows what it takes. You know what a championship winning quarterback looks like, what a successful quarterback looks like from their time at Clemson. I still just need to see it, and
he played
like
at teams last year.
Right. And you look at that group, like, it's like, okay, how would you compare the inexperience or like the flashes we've seen of Lenora Sellers and DJ Lagway to the flashes we've seen from like Nico and Dante and Dylan over their time starting? Like, yeah, like tools wise, you like Sellers and Lagway more. From a pure college productive standpoint, you maybe like those first three a little more as a collective. So yeah, I think I favor the Big Ten a little more this year, just because I do think SEC is a little top heavy QB wise, and even the guys at the top end aren't unproven.
Even at the top, I still like Aller over Nussmeier.
Yeah, I do too. But from a quarterback, again, from a college perspective, I think there's still enough questions about Aller that there isn't for Nussmeier. Just in terms of being a productive college quarterback, I think right now, like Nussmeier, by the end of the year, people were like, hey, you could maybe declare because he did some stuff. It's like, no, he was a good college quarterback. He can't declare, but another year could get him there. But yeah, I think they're close, but yeah.
500 yards. I get it. What is he, 63% completion percentage?
I think so, yeah.
Good anticipation, but I don't know. For whatever maybe I'll be wrong. I don't see it. I don't. Let me put it to you like this: he has no more of those traits that I love that I don't have the same things when I see Drew Aller. And Aller is the consummate but guy. I mean, the guy's statistics, he takes good care of the football, doesn't take sacks, and all everybody ever says is but. But Nussmeier gets the benefit of the doubt, and I'm like, why? I don't see it.
I think what it's going to take for people is seeing those two next to each other. Drew Aller is a tank. Drew Aller is Josh Allen, like pushing 6'6", 230 pounds, like a big boy, and a guy that's going to run around, that's going to create some stuff with his legs. Nuss is like, I like Nussmeier. He's more of a, like, I think when you're talking pure like pro potential, I think the sell with Nussmeier is mentally he's so much further ahead because of who his father is. He's shown the ability.
He does anticipate. He can definitely process.
Yes, and he shows the ability to play very well within the system. Like, he's the, like, how would you slot? Like, you slot the Brock Purdy types in the NFL right now. The guys that can get the ball there. Geno's like the hey, these guys are good. These guys can potentially elevate teams in situations, but what they do best is playing really well within the system, taking care of the ball, and throwing with anticipation and being able to process. Like, that's the difference between those two. And ultimately, we're going to see. I mean, it's going to come around, and it's going to be. Again, I'm just going to call my shot right now. I think it's going to be Drew QB1 come the draft next year too, just because of that. Like, it's going to be a thing where guys just look at the combination of tools, they look at the production, and I think it's going to be, hey, Drew is a guy that can play within the system, is a smart player, but he's also like a guy that can elevate this offense to another level. Like, we may see a team that took a quarterback this year early be right back at the top. And I don't know how you can look at the guys you currently have and then look at Drew Aller and be like, we'll stick with what we have.
That's our guy, Tim Verghese, inside Nebraska. Great stuff as always, Tim. Just as a heads up, we may talk to you about ACC and Big 12 quarterbacks next week if you feel like
Perfect. I'll prep myself, but sounds great.
All right, that's our guy, Tim Verghese.
All right.
Get you.
See you.
That is our guy, Tim Verghese, inside Nebraska. Good stuff as always. All recruiting. We got evals. We got the whole gambit with our guy.
Not bad.
He's good at what he does.
Quarterback for the teams. The Mendoza Signetti thing. I go back to their 8.5 win total. And the 7.5 win total for Illinois. Something's just not.
Something's amiss.
Something's not sitting right.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the fact that Mendoza does have all those tools, and Signetti does get the benefit of the doubt because he's been so good.
I don't know if you know this. You could Google him. He's won.
Well, He can say what he wants. The dude's pretty good.
He can. He certainly can. That's DB. I'm Ravi. We'll come back. We'll get to our Big 12 quarterback ranking coming up next year on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Here at the Oscars, we've got our own Hurrdat Sports, Anna Bellinghausen. And Anna, congratulations. You're up for Sports Media Person of the Year. You're the first female to be nominated. So many congratulations out. And of course, our team, we're also supportive of you, and we appreciate all the work you do for us. What does this mean just to represent first yourself and then Hurrdat Sports as well?
It means so much, and I think just to be the first female to be a part of this award is huge. I think it's a giant step forward for women in this sports field, and also it means so much representing Hurrdat Sports. And also, this award goes to every single woman before me, and just this nomination means so much to kind of see that come to fruition. I remember being a little girl looking up at the screen and seeing Samantha Ponder and thinking to myself, you know, I want to be her. So to be on the path that I am right now, it means the world, and to be recognized amongst these peers and all these people that have supported me along the way, have my family here, have you guys here, it just means the world.
Give me that cheddar, weekend Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
Congratulations on your 100 win. Just what was rolling through your mind stepping up to that line?
I was super nervous. I'm not super confident in my start, so I knew it was like the whole race was kind of relying on that, and it ended up working out for me. Ran into the wind a little bit, which is all right, but you know what? Came away with the win, and that's all I really wanted.
What does it mean to do this for your school as well?
It's amazing. I love my school. A lot of people like to, if they go to a small town, they're like, oh, I want to get out of here, but I love my school. I love my teammates. It's just so fun to, watch everyone win, watch everyone compete, and hopefully I get a chance to bring my school back a state championship as a team, so I'll contribute as much as I can for that.
Centris Federal Credit Union, we understand that the journey of building your own business typically starts with modest beginnings. With a little help from our team of experts and small business loan offerings, you can take your vision and transform it into a more concrete reality. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Our big game chain goes to Alyssa Anand. Alyssa, you win the triple, also the pole vault. Just take me through what a few days it's been here at State.
I mean, I absolutely always love coming to Burke. I get a huge crowd, and the electric atmosphere just absolutely ramps me up. I have a blast.
Well, one of the best moments, we think, was you hugging your coach, and he fell out of his chair. You guys were so excited. Take me through that moment, just the emotion there.
13 has been a bar that I've been chasing for a really long time. In the girls pole vault world of high school, at least, once you clear 13, that's a pretty serious bar to make. And so probably over a year and a half I've been trying to clear that bar. So for both of us to clear that bar in such a huge stadium with so many people, and I have so many family members that come to support me, just to have that moment was so huge for both of us. We put in countless hours practicing, and we love it, but to see it pay off in that kind of form is just so rewarding and obviously a little bit emotional.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you, if you're trying to get into a new vehicle, make sure you check out centrusfcu.org. They've been rated best in Omaha for auto loans, and they can help you out. They got the products, services, and most importantly, expertise to help you get where you're going, whether it's your daily driver, a recreational vehicle, or maybe something else. They've got you covered. centrusfcu.org, federally insured by NCUA. DB.
Yo.
So it seems like there might be some confusion about why we're talking about quarterbacks.
Confusion?
Not Confucius, confusion.
Confusion?
I feel like we've been pretty clear about why we've been talking about quarterbacks, but we can revisit it if we need to.
This is from the chat.
Yeah, there's going to be a separation, and we've laid this out pretty clearly. There's going to be a separation of teams that are.
Mike might not listen every day.
That's fine. I'm trying to help him out here.
Okay.
Of teams that are able to make a jump, are able to sustain their success, or that fall back a little bit.
Yeah, we're talking about trying to move up the pack.
Yes, and if Nebraska moves up the pack, what does that look like? Who do they have to pass, and how can they potentially do that? And where does that leave them, not just them, but the Big Ten in the scope of college football, right? That's why we're going through these other conferences as well and their quarterback situations. Now, I got on the SEC a little bit because it seems like they're getting the benefit of a doubt in a situation where the Big Ten is not. And I get it. ESPN's got their vested interest and their talking heads and the Pete Burns of the world that don't know what they're talking about. That's fine. Sorry, somebody just tagged me in one of his tweets. That's really dumb. But
what did he say?
I think he must listen to us because he called the Big Ten a Ponzi scheme. And I was like, oh, you're using my line. But he's wrong. So that's fine. But the SEC, I think, is getting the benefit of the doubt with their quarterbacks the same way they do in their Ponzi scheme of a league with their teams, right? Like going to Kentucky and losing is a bad loss. Like that's a bad loss. You can't lose to Kentucky and Vanderbilt and some of those teams and then tell me that they're world beaters because they're not. Okay, if you're not going to say the same thing about teams like Minnesota, right? If they're not world beaters, then neither is Vanderbilt, right? So we're sitting here, we go, okay, so DJ Lagway, Lenore Sellers, Arch Manning, a lot of these guys getting the benefit of the doubt in a way that doesn't make sense for the track record. So we went over through the Big Ten and go, okay, that's why I asked him the question. Who are you taking? John Mateer is a great example. I'm glad he brought up that he needs to see it too. Because we're just assuming that John Mateer makes this jump. We're assuming DJ Lagway and Lenore Sellers and Arch Manning make this jump. But we're assuming the same thing does not happen for Dylan Raiola or Nico or Dante Moore or Bryce Underwood or pick a guy, right? Whoever Ohio State decides to start. We just assume that it happens in the SEC and not in the Big Ten, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So if you're navigating through who's going to be good in college football and who's going to make leaps and who's going to fall back to the pack, kind of looking at you, Ohio State, if you can't figure out your quarterback situation, that's concerning. Or does a Mendoza hit? Because if he doesn't and Dylan does, that's a team you pass, right? Like those are the conversations we're having. So that's why it matters what happens here in the scheme of does Dylan make a jump? Who's in the best position, right? Because Mendoza, physically super gifted, is he going to be able to execute at the same level that Rourke did? I don't know. That's the $1 million question. What I do know is that he's talented enough to do it. I know Dylan's talented enough to do it. We went through the 5 stars in the Big Ten the other day. A lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys.
When you're looking at Big 12 quarterbacks, were you surprised at how many of those guys
The depth killed me, man.
had thrown for
3,500 yards, 20-plus touchdowns.
Well, I think there's 7 of those.
Yeah. I went down. So
there's 7 of those that threw for 20 or more.
Yeah, and
there's 4 that threw for more than 3,000.
Oh, there's more than 4 that threw for 3,000, I think.
Coming in the conference?
In the conference last year.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Because you have some transfers coming in, too, that also did. But so I'm sitting here and I go, okay, I'm going down this list. And I still maybe take, Levitt's 1, right?
Yes.
I still maybe take Rocco Becht, too, because I like him.
I have Becht, too.
But there's a lot of contenders. I got down to like 10 before I was like, I don't know about that guy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm at 9.
Did you throw Jalen Daniels in there or no?
Yeah, but I have
You don't have the Utah quarterback.
Dampier?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
Dampier's 9.
Okay. Yeah.
Daniels is 8 for me.
Yeah, so like you get pretty deep in this conference before I get to a guy.
Dampier only has like 13 starts.
Oh, you know what? You're right. So I got to 9, and then Wegman was 10, and I was like really highly thought of or had been in the past, not sure what he is because he hasn't played that much, right? So that was my 10 was Wegman. But you get to 9 or 10 before you're even getting to a guy that you don't really feel good about or have a chance on.
Where'd you put Avery Johnson?
Okay, 5th.
Interesting.
So I went.
I have Robertson ahead of Avery Johnson.
I do too, and I have Hoover.
Wow, where'd you put Retzloff?
After Avery Johnson, I have him at 6.
I have him at 4.
Do you? I like Retzloff and I like BYU, so
Me too.
I struggle.
And
with
he's
that.
really good.
He is really good. He's really good.
How could you have Avery Johnson ahead of Retzloff?
I think I got.
I'm
buying the hype a little bit.
I get it.
Like not to the degree that everybody else is, where they're like, "Oh, Avery Johnson is 2," but I've seen enough of him that I'm like, there's something there. And if I'm going to talk about taking leaps with other guys, like there's enough there from Avery Johnson I can buy.
You think they miss Connor Riley?
Probably.
You'd have to, right? But then again, it's Kleiman, so
he's going to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like that's just what he
usually does.
So that's part of my thing with. As much as I like Sataki at BYU, I like Kleiman just as much. So that's part of it too, is like they're going to figure those things out. I think what ended up for me is I think Avery has higher upside than Retzlaff. I think. Like athletically, I think there's just a little bit more there. I could very easily see a situation where Retzlaff's better than him this year.
So you put Beck at 2 as well?
Yeah, I love Beck.
I did too.
Beck's my guy. And I'm a Matt Campbell guy. I like Iowa State. But I go... So I went Levitt, Becht, Robertson, Hoover. Those my 4. Then Avery Johnson, then Retzlaff.
I went Levitt, Beck, Hoover, Retzlaff, Robertson, Avery Johnson. You don't like Morton?
Morton's 7.
Okay.
Because I like Morton better than like Dampier. Although Dampier's weird because the throwing's not there yet, but God, that guy can run.
Yeah. Why do you so how'd the shine come off of Daniels? Just injuries?
Yeah, just hasn't played enough. But if that dude's healthy, he could get to like.
I remember 2 years ago, who were they playing in overtime? And it went to was it Arkansas?
Yes, I think so.
And I was like, which one of these quarterbacks is going to be the last one to make a play?
And it felt like it might be Daniels.
It was like a Thursday night. I was sitting in the parking lot at the Iowa West Fieldhouse listening to this thing in the parking lot. One of the kids had practice. And I'm like, this is incredible. And I think Daniels was on the verge of just being a star.
Yeah. So that was 22?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
So I think for me, the regression in the passing numbers for him has been a little scary for me because he was hurt most of 23, played a lot last year, but the numbers regressed a little bit. If he returns to 2022 form, that guy is because he was conference offensive player of the year, right?
And this is his 6th year.
Yeah, which that matters, right? So if I'm looking at him, I go, okay, do I think what's Jalen Daniels' ceiling is probably 4 or 5?
I don't know. It's lofty because I don't know, and I get it. Zembrowski was on staff, but I mean that's his new OC.
And so that's the other thing with Daniels is with Kotelnicki going to Penn State, his struggles have coincided with him being gone.
I think Kotelnicki is
really good at what he does.
He's really creative.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's
I'm going to
part
say
of it.
creative. I know some say gimmicky, but I think he's pretty creative.
I think it's creative. And then what do you do with you've even got a couple guys after that, right? In Caden Salter, who had a lot of success at Liberty, and we assume he's going to start, but they've got 5-star Julian Lewis right behind him. And then you've got Noah Fifida, who 2 years ago was a world beater.
So you asked me about him yesterday, off air, and why did I get off of him? And you're like, I think he probably had a better year last year than I think. I don't know if he did or not. I know he's got to replace some fellas that he's throwing to.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean McMillan.
Ted's gone.
Real dude. Yeah.
And I just didn't. Ted had to make so many tough catches.
Fair. But but Fifida's like in double digits in terms of ranking is my point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A guy that 2 years ago in the bowl game against Oklahoma, we're like, this guy could be incredible.
Right.
And that was pre-Fish leaving.
I would say, and we felt like if he followed Fish to Washington, we'd be having way different conversations about this.
Yeah, but Fish has got his guy. So
he does now.
And he's got a better guy.
But at the moment, when he first left,
it's crazy. He's got a better guy.
Because everybody assumed that McMillan and Fifida were going to follow him to Washington, and they didn't. So, but I sit here and I go, okay, does any other conference get to double digits with a guy like Noah Fifida as one of the quarterbacks? No. Not even close. Most of these guys can't get to 7 with a Noah Fifida. And he might be 12 in the Big 12.
I'm surprised. I'm still surprised. How do you get Retzloff at 6?
I just think Avery Johnson might have like a little bit higher ceiling. I think he's got a little bit more upside.
And you put Robertson in front of him too?
Yeah, but Robertson, Hoover.
And I get it. People love people like what's going on in Waco.
I have a little Dave Aranda love in me. So like that's probably part of it.
Me too. And the shine came off quick.
And they got a little backlash last year. Like he found it a little bit. That's a guy I think is really good at his job.
He had to get a new version of an offense though.
Yeah, he did.
But
I appreciate him being willing to go do it.
Right.
Right? Like learning on the fly. He's a defensive guy. Hey, let's figure this thing out.
Retzloff is pretty good.
Listen, if Retzloff is 3rd, I won't be shocked. Like he could get to 3rd. If BYU is
I almost put him 2.
Really?
I thought about it.
Honestly, so
I thought about it.
My 1-2 are rock solid because I love Becht.
Well, so Iowa State's got to replace a couple of fellas.
For sure. They got two receivers that went to the NFL.
Yeah, those are NFL talents.
Really good guys. I totally get that. But I love Becht and I love
And I was a little underwhelmed against Arizona State.
Sure.
It was a one-game scenario. But again, it's a guy that I watch all the time. But I'm like, okay, like opponents, pretty good. Dueling QBs.
Yeah.
Levitt just made way more plays.
I mean, Levitt's number 1, and I don't think it's close. But I do think Becht is my –
I did – so let me just finish the thought here. So when I'm watching that, I didn't get the sense that these guys were 1-2 at quarterback.
Okay.
Right? But then I thought to myself, okay.
Well, who you put ahead of him?
In a vacuum, that's probably not the best way to do it.
Sure.
But they looked at considerably different stages of quarterback play.
That's fair.
So
you can't get out of your head.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I do that with a lot of.
So I thought about putting either Hoover or Retzloff ahead of Becht.
Yeah. Hoover's really good. Hoover's really good.
Yeah. I mean,
I do think there's not like after Levitt. My personal preference is Becht. I don't think there's a ton of gap between like 2 and 7.
So that would include, in any order, that would be Retzloff, Hoover, Avery Johnson,
Becht,
Robertson,
and Morton. I'll throw Morton in there. I don't think there's a huge gap between those 6 guys.
Morton.
Am I crazy? Maybe don't throw Morton in there, but like there's not a huge gap between those guys.
I like Texas Tech though.
I know. I think Morton's pretty good.
Me too.
And I think he could have a really good year. Another really good year.
I'm a little gun shy on them.
Okay.
You know,
what's the hesitation?
I was a year off.
Sure.
So I'm mad at him.
But my guy went.
I'm like, I think Texas Tech's going to be pretty good.
My guy went 63% completion.
I called him a dark horse.
3,300, 27-8.
Well,
like Morton's pretty good.
I know.
You know, so I don't know that there's like if any of those 6 guys finished second would not be shocked in the league. I wouldn't be shocked if some of those guys passed Levitt.
I'm not sure how I have BYU as kind of my. I think they win the Big 12.
Listen, I love Satake. I'm not going to argue with you. I love Satake. That's one of my dudes. That's one of my irrational, absolutely no reason for it.
All right, so in Arizona State or BYU?
I think Iowa State's got a shot.
No, I love Iowa State too.
I think it's one of those three. That's who I would bet on. But I also think this is a.
That's why I think April 23rd is fascinating.
I think this is.
You talk about experience.
Yeah.
In Ireland.
August 23rd.
What did I say? April.
Yeah.
Yeah. August.
Yeah. Kansas State, Iowa State, right off the jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, would it shock you if Kansas State won the league? Would it shock you?
I would be surprised.
Okay.
But I do think I think K-State is top 25. I think there's 5 Big Ten teams in the top 25.
Yeah, that's where we
Big
landed.
12.
That's where we landed on, right? 5 teams. I said probably none in the top 10, but I'll take 5 from 10 to 25. And it would not shock me if any of those.
I would be surprised if it was K-State. Shocked. I mean, I don't want to get into semantics. But I think there's 2 or 3 teams ahead of them.
That's fine. I think there's probably 5 teams that could win the Big 12, and I wouldn't be stunned.
I mean, so looking at their win totals,
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think there's 8 teams or 9 between 6 and 8.5.
Yeah, that makes sense to me for how I feel about the Big 12. I think it also makes sense for how we rank the quarterbacks, how we feel about the quarterbacks.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's this is the best middle of the class
because
conference.
I think the last team in the Big 12. Gosh, somebody look this up while I'm rambling. I think the last team in the Big 12, their season win total,
it's like 5.5.
Is 5.5.
Yeah.
That's pretty high for a conference with that many teams.
We're checking.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do think.
But who has the highest win? Does anybody have more than the season win total higher than 9?
I think 8.5. I think 8.5
is the high.
I think so. So Arizona.
What's BYU?
I'm checking. Arizona is the lowest, I believe, at 5.5.
Okay.
Let's see where BYU is. BYU 7.5.
And crazy.
Arizona State's 8.5. They're the highest I've seen so far.
Look, I mean, the conference is going to beat itself up. That's what this is saying.
Houston's at 5.5.
Nobody's higher than 8.5. If Arizona State's at 8.5, nobody's higher than Arizona State.
I mean, you thought Kansas State's also 8.5.
Well, nobody's higher than Arizona State.
Oklahoma State's at 5.5.
So we're going from 5.5 to 8.5.
Yeah, that's the
for the conference.
That's the whole league. Oh, Texas Tech also at 8.5.
For the conference.
Mm-hmm. That's the whole league.
The only reason I'm not saying Texas Tech is because I'm gun shy.
But
I'm telling you, they're good.
West Virginia's 5.5. Yeah, so everything is 5.5 to 8.5. The entire league.
That's nuts.
That's bonkers. But I do think the quarterbacks reflect that. If you can go like almost 12 deep on quarterbacks, that makes sense that's what the conference is.
So, I mean, it kind of validates Tony, though, the other day.
What's that?
They're going to be good. They're not nobody's.
A lot of top 25.
Nobody should be beating their fist at the table talking about they need a bigger piece of chicken.
No, right. A lot of top 25, not a lot of top 10. That's the Big 12.
Somebody's going to surprise, though.
Just living in the upper middle class.
Somebody's going to surprise.
There's worse things to be in the upper middle class. You could do worse.
I wouldn't know.
That's DB. I'm Ravi. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming next.
What does it mean just to be from Omaha and covering Omaha athletes? I mean, you said it yourself. You were one of them back in the day, and now you get to be on the opposite side of that camera.
Yeah, it's really cool. Again, not here for my athletic ability. That's totally fine now. I'm a washed track athlete, but I'll take that and run with it because I want to cover these athletes from Omaha and Nebraska, where I grew up, because it's so important. There's so many amazing stories. Even here in this room right now, I see Tyson Terry over there. I mean, talk about a guy with a story. So it's incredible to represent my hometown. I always wear Omaha on my sleeve, and it's just a blast. is our big game chain player of the meet this time. Congratulations. We got a little gift for you from Borsheim's, but what was running through your mind when you heard that bell?
So when that bell rang, all I could think of was when last year I came from behind, I was in second in that last lap starting it, and at the end I came back, and all I could think of is there was somebody back there like me coming to get me. So yeah, that's really all that was going through my mind.
A two-time champion now, just what does it mean to put this into fruition? There's so much training that goes in for a moment like this.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's like, I think of racing as, not something to stress about or something to worry about, but as the reward for all of the miles and the hard work we do. So it just feels really good to be out here and just get to run.
How about to represent your school as well?
Yeah, and that's incredible too. I love Wallace and I love being a Wildcat. So just to get to be out here, and I broke the school record today finally. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
At Centros Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals, with a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centros Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
I haven't given a speech to them over 30 seconds in probably 6 weeks. There's not a whole lot. There is zero motivation that I'm doing right now. They love baseball, and I would look at our guys and say they've played more summer ball than probably any team in the country, and I point to that because it's just how much they love it. And so, yeah, I think the inexperience is probably an asset at this point because it's just they have total joy for what they're doing.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centros Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, and we are joined now by Brian Hanni, the play-by-play voice of the Kansas Jayhawks. Brian, how are you this morning?
Doing well, fellas. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
Boy, listen to that golden voice. There it is, Brian. Good to talk to you again. Hey, this is interesting. We talked to Coach Service yesterday, and we're saying, hey, kind of what concerns you? Creighton likes their pitching depth and the numbers at the top of the lineup, and he said this is without question the best offensive ball club we've seen. They do it a multitude of ways. Is that kind of the scouting report as you kind of nutshell it? This is a really good offensive baseball team?
I think you can certainly start with that, no doubt. But if we just stopped there, we'd probably be selling short the total team that Kansas has put together under Dan Fitzgerald. Because, yes, the offense is great. 100 home runs is the school record. The previous mark was 25 less than that. So it goes to show you, the record-setting pace they've been on in slugging percentage and home runs and run scoring at 8.2 runs per game. Brady Ballinger, obviously, is a guy with an on-base percentage north of 500, a midseason All-American, and Jackson Hauge's 2 home runs shy of the single-season school record. So offensively, they've been a ton of fun. Outside of not stealing a ton of bases, honestly, though, this club does all things well. They've got excellent starting pitching, particularly in the first 2 chairs of a weekend with Dominic Bagley, followed by Cooper Moore. And then you take a look at the defense on this team. They've tied the school record in fielding percentage. So best home run hitting club, best defensive team. I thought they had the best 1-2 punch in terms of starting pitchers in the Big 12 this year. The bullpen has some talent toward the back end. Middle relief is a little bit less than what they had a year ago, and they probably don't have as many trusted options in the pen as they had a year ago. But by and large, there's so many strengths of this team. It's hard to find a ton of weak links, and there's certainly not one through 9 in the batting order, which is different than what we're used to seeing at Kansas, where they've always had some good hitters, but there was usually a blind spot or 2 in there 1 through 9, this is a fearsome group top to bottom. And so I think you're right to lead with the offense, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you about pitching and defense because they've been very good too.
Historically, full disclosure, I'm not a huge RPI across the multitude of sports, but I do believe in baseball it is fairly accurate because I can always get into scheduling and strength of schedule with conferences. Always been solid this season with the RPI. Dab smack, 23, 24 in the RPI. The conference is legit. The scheduling is legit. But bigger than that, what is it about Kansas's athletic department and the administration that has allowed kind of the periphery sports to continue to kind of blossom and develop and thrive even with how they schedule, how they handle their business with their respective sports that isn't, basketball, that isn't football, where you're right dab smack where you need to be as a 2 seed in a region and in the Midwest where everything's dominated by the Sun Belt. Here's Kansas holding their own.
Yeah, well, I think it starts with great coaching hires because there was a time not too far long ago when we didn't excel in a ton of peripheral sports. You had volleyball under Ray Bouchard that was great. You had obviously Stanley Redwine's job with track and field that was outstanding year in and year out. Redwine was the recent Team USA national coach at the Paris Olympics for the men's side last year. So you had some pillars within the shall we say, non-revenue sports or Olympic sports, right? But across the board success was a little more fleeting. You'd have some good years out of Jamie Bermel in golf and a few occasional soccer seasons under Mark Francis that were great. But ever since Travis Goff took over, we've seen 5 consecutive coaching hires that have been absolute home runs. I like to joke that he's batting 1,000 in home run hires, and they're all grand slams at this point. I mean, Lance Leipold clearly with football has put Kansas on the map as a year in, year out Big 12 contender.
A guy we're familiar with.
Yeah, no doubt. He had a lot of ties up there. And he was 1 win away from going to back-to-back bowl games for the first time in school history and probably should have been there a year ago. But it's a club that is projected to win 8 games this fall in football. You look at soccer with Nate Lee. He was in his first season at Kansas last fall. They win the Big 12 tournament title in year 1. Lindsey Cool has made the golf program a year in, year out NCAA tournament team. We think, Coach Ulmer on the volleyball side is going to pick up where Ray Bouchard had it and take it, to even higher ground. So all of these coaching hires have been awesome. And Leipold is the most important one because of the revenue driver that football is on a collegiate campus. But some would argue, and I've been on 2 shows this week that have asked me straight up, is Fitz the best of the hires? Man, I'm not going to answer that question. That's a tough one. I work for both Lance and Fitz, and I think they're both Grand Slam homers. But, man, to see what he's built in such a short window, and then you're reminded of the fact that when he left LSU, his thumbprints were all over that national championship roster that won it all the following year. When you look at who all he put in the major leagues in his 9 seasons at Dallas Baptist, working with Coach Huebner down there, I mean, he's been a success everywhere he's been. And so I don't know who's the best of the home run hires. As I said, Lance is the most important for the sake of our athletic department. But Fitz has certainly, in a very short window, now is Big 12 Coach of the Year. And let's call it like it is. They probably should have been Big 12 champions. It was a rare scheduling quirk that had the league champion play 2 fewer games based on a tragic deal with the devastating fires that took place in Stillwater, Oklahoma back in mid-March that cost the OSU West Virginia series to be shortened. Because of that, Kansas did not win the Big 12, even though they had the most league wins, and swept the league winner in their park in the final series of the regular season. So he got the award that was one you could hand out based on opinion. They did not win the team honor that had to do with winning percentage, unfortunately, but this is a really, really good club. And to be talking about things like that in year 3 speaks to the Herculean effort he's made to get this thing on a national prominent level.
Brian, so you were talking earlier about the strengths of this team. Obviously, you like them 1 through 9 in the lineup. You mentioned Moore and Begley on the starting pitching. So that middle relief, we see that end up being a huge factor in these regionals so often, especially if you end up having to take a loss and go the long way around the barn there. Who do you look at within the options in middle relief and you go, okay, this is a guy that if Kansas is going to have to extend the bullpen a little bit, this is a guy that has the ability and has to be able to step up big.
Yeah, that's an excellent question, especially in this particular weekend format. And Manning West has become that guy of late. 6 consecutive scoreless innings, including 3 2/3 hitless at number 16 West Virginia in his final regular season appearance. And then he backed it up with 2 1/3 lights out at the Big 12 tournament against Oklahoma State. So he's really peaking at the right time. He's the type of guy they can turn to for 3+ innings. He's been a midweek starter at times. He's a guy they could really lean on if they had to go to him earlier than anticipated. Having said that, the recipe for success this weekend, as we all know, you win your first 2 games, you're in the catbird seat. They need to get lengthy starts, not just quality starts, but lengthy starts out of Dom Vagley and Cooper Moore the first 2 days. And if they get them through 7, Alex Breckheimer, their closer, has proven to be their most trusted bullpen option, and routinely they ask him to get 6-out saves. When we swept West Virginia 2 weeks ago in Morgantown, and they were number 16 in the country, Kansas only used 5 pitchers all weekend. The 3 starters, Breckheimer and West. The 3rd starter is Cannon Carr, and he's going to play an important role in answering this question as well whenever we see him for the first time, which we would hope would be game 3 as a starter. But he's a guy that typically only goes between 5 and 6 innings. He's not going to go deep into his starts. Cooper Moore has 4 of his league starts. He went 8 innings. Dominic Vagley has that potential as well. But because Kansas doesn't have a ton of tried and true middle relief options that they trust a ton, you'd like to get deeper quality starts out of the starters and really shorten the game in terms of the number of guys you have to go to. Now, there's capable arms out there. They thought when they got Eric Lynn in the portal, he had one of the best fastballs in the transfer portal. They love Malachi Vitak, a Creighton guy that you know a lot about from right there in Omaha. He's come on a lot of late, actually. We're really impressed with what he's done down the stretch. Gavin Brzozowski's a Tennessee transfer with a big-time fastball from the left-hand side. Dalton Smith, there's other options. But if you look at the way the pitching coach, Brandon Scott, has managed the pitching game plan over the last month or so, there's 2 guys they really trust that are non-starters, and that's Breckheimer and Manning West. After that, it's a little bit of a mixed bag, and you hope you catch them on a good day. So that's why I say having the starters get you 21+ outs is probably paramount, especially these first 2 days.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you selfishly, and it's not because it's Creighton and I want to see extended series. I want to see all the uniform combinations. Listen, the gear is fantastic, man. I know you guys want the win in game 1, man. But the longer you stay, the more combinations we get to see. The gear, man. You guys have spent some money on having the nice wardrobes, man. Looking forward to seeing some good baseball and a heck of a matchup.
I love that. Yeah, our best uniforms, in my opinion, are ones we rarely wear. We bust them out every year for the Buck O'Neil Classic because they're inspired by the Kansas City Monarchs.
Great Buck O'Neil.
Yes, yeah. Check out the Jayhawks tribute to Buck and the KC Monarchs, and Jackie Robinson, and Satchel Paige, and all those great Negro Leagues, great players that played in Kansas City. It's our special alternative uniform that I don't even know if they packed them on this trip, but they look just like the Monarchs from 80 years ago, and you ought to check them out because I think they're about as cool as anything in college baseball.
Fantastic stuff, B. We appreciate you taking a few.
Hey, thanks so much, guys. All the best.
Straight from Brian Hanni, Kansas play-by-play voice, to John E. Hoover covering Oklahoma for Sooners on SI. John, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How's everybody there?
Good. Appreciate your patience, man. Going rapid fire and a little bit different rivalry rekindled with the Huskies and the Sooners, but man, no love lost here, man. How are you feeling about the matchup?
I love the matchup just from a historical perspective. You're talking about Oklahoma and you're talking about Nebraska. So go Big Red, go Big Red. I think that's what the both fan bases, at least the OU fans, used to say. But this is it's fun. It's always fun to get thrown into the ring, so to speak, with someone that you used to be in the house with, right, as a conference member for years and years, for decades and decades. and now you're playing them in a kind of a, winner take all. Let's say it's a winner. I know it's double elimination, but it's a winner take all event. You win this one, you go on to the next round. So love it.
So, John, talk to me about the big decision this week from Oklahoma to not go with Kyson Witherspoon in game one. Obviously, the importance of getting that first win and not taking a loss early through these regionals is huge. Not that brother Witherspoon is any worse than Malachi, but Kyson's the guy, right? What went into that decision to save him?
Well, I think Skip might, I think he's arrived at Skip's his own guy. Let me just say it like that. He arrives at his decisions based on a lot of gut feel. So if he wants, if he thinks it's going to be a matchup situation. If he thinks Kyson Witherspoon is the best way for them to move forward by pitching in the first round, then that's what he'll do. If he wants to save him for the second round, right, and the potential matchup, if you get past the Huskers with number 6 national seed North Carolina, then all of a sudden you're looking at Kyson Witherspoon, one of the top pitchers in the country, going up against one of the best lineups in the country in UNC. So he is really big on matchups. He is really big on gut feel, make decisions based on how you feel about that internally, and it's a little bit of a hard thing to quantify, just because you're talking about how someone else feels about something internally. So is Kyson the best guy to take on North Carolina? Maybe, I think he's trying to essentially maximize a guy like Kyson, who's, future first round pick. And he's trying to maximize that while also trying to minimize some places where they've struggled, which is with their second starter, especially in SEC play. Malachi, for instance, Malachi Witherspoon, his twin brother, he's 1-8 in SEC play with an ERA over 6. So it's not like he's been bad, but he's just had to face some really, obviously in the SEC, some incredible teams, some teams with their backs up against the wall, a lot of Sunday games, so it comes down to who's going to win the series. And so Malachi himself has had a tough maybe assignment as the third pitcher in SEC play. And then they've done some things mixing and matching in the bullpen. He really feels strongly about the quality of his bullpen. So I think he feels a certain way about Kyson. And then Cade Crossland, the left-hander, as the second option, Malachi as the second option. And then that bullpen, which has been mostly really good, as kind of a second option as well.
This is interesting, John. I'm always looking at the game within the game. It's strange, obviously, covering Nebraska, but I'm a Carolina fan, have been my whole life. I'm familiar with the ballpark, the layout. I saw the regional seedings, and I told our listeners, I said, it's not an offensive region. I think these games will be relatively low scoring. The ballpark will play that way. It's how Carolina plays. So I'm trying to get within the outside the obvious. And watching you guys all year, you guys can run, right? You got, 6, 7 guys that have 10 bags. You got 5 that have more than 10 bags. You got 2 that haven't been caught yet. I look at Nebraska's catching, the battery. How critical, or how key is it the way that Oklahoma plays in terms of being aggressive on the base paths and the way that they play, that if you're not familiar with it can cause you some problems defensively?
Yeah, it's Skip. He implemented this kind of mindset when he took over as head coach, but it really took hold in 2022 when OU made that run to the College World Series championship series against Ole Miss, ended up losing to the Rebs. But he calls it chaos. Okay, CHAOS, chaos. But being OU, they put a little O in there, a little O and a U in there, right, together. So it's chaos. It's really weird. It's goofy, but that's their identity. That's their track. That's what they want to stick to. Is, if you're at first base, make them think you're going to steal. If you're at first base and you're not going to steal, make them know that you're probably going to go to third on anything hit to the right side. Anything hit to the right side. They get a lot of guys thrown out at third base, probably more than most. And that's because Skip and his staff are, Reggie Willits especially, trying to create offensive chaos, trying to make the pitcher think, trying to make the catcher think, trying to make outfielders worry about what their next move is offensively. So it has, for the past 3-4 seasons, it has been a fantastic setup for Oklahoma offensively, just making the pitcher uncomfortable, making the infielders have to consider, okay, well, now wait a minute, what did they do in this situation? Making the outfielders have to sit around and think, yeah, I better go ahead and get that ball in quickly. If there's a ball in the gap, I better hustle to it because, they're going to take that extra base. It's just something they really thrive on.
John, so maybe Oklahoma not playing as well as they'd like to coming in to regionals. Obviously lost 6 out of their last 7 in regular season play. Did get a couple wins in the SEC tournament before falling to Vanderbilt. How do they feel about the way they're playing right now overall?
Yeah, Skip talked about this earlier in the week. They left some meat on the bone in Hoover, Alabama at the SEC tournament. Didn't play as well as they should have. They won the first 2 games, beat Kentucky and Georgia, but then lose like they did to Vanderbilt. That was a team that they felt like they should have probably beaten. Didn't have a great pitching matchup, but the SEC has gotten them ready for NCAA tournament play. When you talk about 13 teams in the SEC made the tournament, 6 of those 8 national seeds are SEC teams, and all the regional hosts, 8 teams are hosting this week. Skip understands, and I think a lot of OU fans are patient with the fact that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, this program was not SEC ready. Okay, they were probably, when you consider where the SEC is as a conference athletically, everything the league has accomplished, baseball is probably their number 1 sport, which is crazy to say. Women's basketball has won all these national championships. Football, obviously. Men's basketball has turned a corner and has become the kind of preeminent league. But baseball is where the SEC is better than, or there's maybe a wider margin than, other sports between them and other conferences. So where Oklahoma was 3 years ago, they were struggling in the Big 12 at one point. And I wrote a column, I think I said on a podcast as well, that if they go to the SEC now, if this team were to go to the SEC now, they would be last place in the conference in fundraising, in attendance, in facility rankings, in talent on the field, across the board. And those guys, Skip told us after the season was over that they took those comments that were made publicly by some people, including myself, and they put them on the wall and they played them back on the speakers, on the podcast, they replayed them and they motivated them to get to the College World Series. Well, great. That's awesome. What do you do now? Now in 2025, you've had 3 years, right, to build up to the SEC. They did that, and they've made that progress. They've become that team or that program. When you look at the attendance records, 4,400, 4,600, whatever, by SEC standards, it's a little on the low side, but for Oklahoma standards, they've taken that next step, and it's just been wildly impressive to see where Oklahoma has come from, okay, and how far they've come. And now, 14 and 16 in the SEC this year, not where you want to be. You're 12th place in the standings or whatever. Losing record. Nobody wants a losing record in conference play. But they were so competitive in so many of those games. If they had a different pitching outcome, if they had a maybe different pitching option on some of the Saturday or Sunday games, maybe they would have had a winning record. Maybe they would have finished, top 6 or something like that. So they're just that much closer to where they want to be as a program.
John, let me ask you something, because I admire his offensive prowess, considering it. I mean, he started all but 1 game last year. He's been an Ironman this year. What's the region getting? What's the country going to get when they watch Easton Carmichael?
He's he's obviously a professional catcher, right? I mean, he's defensively, he's very good.
Which makes the offensive numbers incredible, considering how good he is defensively.
Right.
It's uncanny.
No, that's a good observation. He's really good defensively. And when you see catcher's that position, right? Catcher and sometimes shortstop are that one position where you're like, if you're a genius defensively, then sometimes you're not necessarily all that great offensively. He breaks that mold a little bit. He doesn't follow that path. He's really good defensively, and he's explosive, super dynamic offensively. He can hit for power. He can hit for average. He's fast on the base pass. He adds to that chaos theory. So
I was just gonna. He can move.
Yeah,
like he's. Yeah. Is he a real 200 pounds?
Yeah, probably.
Got the 12 steals on the season. Like how many?
Well,
times
he's like 6'1". I'm telling you.
How many times do you see a catcher getting after it like
he's
that?
Legit, He's legit.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's a future pro. He's big time.
Man, John, we appreciate the time. Great stuff from you here. Enjoy the regional, and
let me sneak in one more if you give me a sec here. John.
Sure.
Oklahoma offensively, with what Brockett kind of brings to the table in terms of his pitch selection, what kind of hitting team would you kind of classify Oklahoma as? You know, off-speed guys, they hit the ball in the screws, fastball hitting team. Offensively, do you like this matchup with what Nebraska's bringing to the bump today?
Yeah, not obviously being an expert on Nebraska's pitching rotation and what kind of they like to throw, and you know who's available. I like Oklahoma's offense just about it. What am I trying to say? Against just about anybody. Got that one out. Because they do that. Okay, so they put pressure on you because of their speed and their attitude and their habits of running the bases and being aggressive, creating chaos. But they're talented too. They have been, when the season started, when the SEC season started, I should say, they looked like a real contender offensively to be that team, to be that offensive team, to be that club that's going to make a lot of noise at the top of the statistical standings. And now that you've gone through a full season of conference play, 30 games, you look back on it and you're like, yeah, we were not necessarily wrong about how Oklahoma has been with some of their power numbers, guys who have hit, multiple streak hitting, games and reaching base on consecutive streaks. They've had multiple double-digit guys, hitting for average, getting on base, creating, offensive chaos. Again, I keep leaning on that word, but here, and I don't know if this trends or tracks in college baseball in general in 2025, but review the season. They've got two guys who have a batting average in conference play, in SEC conference play, two guys over 300. That's down a little bit. That's a little below where we thought they were going to be. Okay. When conference play started. So it turns out that tracks for the entire season. Again, you got Carmichael with 14 bombs, but generally speaking, you're looking at two guys, Carmichael and Jackson Willits, who Jackson's season has been like this. He hits hot streaks and then he hits low streaks. You've got two guys who hit over 300 for the season. And I'm like, 20 games into this season, it was looking like 6 or 7 or 8 guys were going to hit over 300. Eventually the averages catch up with you. The length of the season catches up with you. And, but generally, again, a lot of offensive numbers, a lot of stolen bases, a lot of pressure on guys to throw people out. I like where Oklahoma sits offensively going into the NCAA tournament.
That's John Hoover.
Nice.
For Sooners on SI. John, we appreciate the time and the preview of Oklahoma. Great to talk to you and enjoy the regional.
All right. Appreciate it, fellas.
Thanks, John. Be interesting with Brockett and Helixo.
So
going to have to hold those guys.
Nebraska's pitching makes me I'm a little uncomfortable with the matchup, with the pressure that Oklahoma puts on you.
You get a lefty, though.
Yeah.
He can get a good look at it.
Just makes me a little uncomfortable, that's all. Because I'm not worried about just Brockett. They got some other guys after that, too. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Connor Onion. He is the play-by-play voice for Big Ten Baseball on the Big Ten Network and on Fox Sports as we continue our regional preview here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Here at the Oscars, we've got our own Hurrdat Sports, Anna Bellinghausen. And Anna, congratulations. You're up for Sports Media Person of the Year. You're the first female to be nominated. So many congratulations out. And, of course, our team, we're also supportive of you, and we appreciate all the work you do for us. What does this mean just to represent first yourself and then Hurrdat Sports as well?
It means so much. And I think just to be the first female to be a part of this award is huge. I think it's a giant step forward for women in this sports field, and also it means so much representing Hurrdat Sports, and also this award goes to every single woman before me, and just this nomination means so much to kind of see that come to fruition. I remember being a little girl looking up at the screen and seeing Samantha Ponder and thinking to myself, you know, I want to be her. So to be on the path that I am right now, it means the world, and to be recognized amongst these peers and all these people that have supported me along the way, have my family here, have you guys here, it just means the world.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big money and rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's EB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Don't forget, you can get 75-cent wings all weekend here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Connor Onion joining us now from Fox Sports and the Big Ten Network. He was here last weekend doing the Big Ten tournament. Connor, how are you this morning?
Hey, good guys. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, we love it. We appreciate you letting us steal a couple of minutes, man. We were talking to Kyle, we were talking to KP yesterday or day before, and you're right there in the thick of it, Connor, with what happened with Oregon. And I get it, right? We cover Nebraska, and it's Nebraska baseball, and we wanted them to be Big Ten champs. But did a little bit of you feel bad for Oregon and having to stay in Iowa City, then come straight here and kind of sit around and not play their best baseball? And then the region, even though you're supposed to be at home, was not very kind. Is there a little bit of you that felt bad for Oregon?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I guess I hadn't thought of it in that perspective. Maybe I should have a little bit deeper, but.
Well, listen, if you weren't sending any flowers, believe me, Nebraska fans are okay with that. It's fine.
Yeah, you know what was top of mind was the fact they were playing a 7 a.m. body clock game to play for the semifinals. I think since I was doing the game, that was probably more top of mind. But you're right, that draw with the regional and the fact that I think they were probably that Nebraska game and then maybe one more win, if not winning the championship away from being a national seed.
Yeah.
That was the unfortunate part for the Ducks. So yeah, that was definitely top of mind that they were probably up at 4 o'clock body clock time, even though they had been adjusted for a little while.
Connor, as you look at the different regionals, obviously Oregon got a little bit of a tough draw there. You got USC, you've got UCLA, you've got Nebraska obviously as well. Have you looked at one of those and you go, okay, I kind of like this path more than others? I know like UCLA didn't get a ton of favors either. It's not like UC Irvine's pretty good.
Irvine's tough, but I like the way UCLA's built. What do you think?
Yeah, I do too. I like the way that UCLA can line up their pitching. I mean, we saw it in the Big Ten tournament last week, how they kind of went midweek approach early in the week. And then, they don't have a guy that blows you away on that staff, which is kind of weird to say for UCLA because John Savage, their head coach, always seems to have one of those guys. They have 3, I'd say, above average starters that are more than your typical fastball, breaking ball, or fastball changeup mix. So most of those guys can land 3 pitches, which can sometimes be rare for a college level pitcher. And I think they've got 4 or 5, sometimes 6 guys, depending on health, that can come out of the bullpen and throw in the mid 90s. So that's always the key. That's what I'm interested with Nebraska and their regional is, can they pull off a Jackson Brockett, Ty Horn like run through this tournament like they did in the Big Ten tournament, without their Friday night starter at Mason McConaughey being out for the whole season, and Luke Broderick, their closer, throwing a bunch of pitches last week. That's, I think Nebraska's path is one they can navigate, especially with Oklahoma throwing off, not going with their ace in the first game. So go win that first one and I guess see what happens.
It's an interesting matchup too, Connor, because Brockett, obviously being a left-hander, is going to put some pressure on Helixo behind the dish because of the way that Oklahoma likes to run. They've got 6 guys with 10 bags swiped or more. As you're kind of watching the evolution of this conference, as everybody's becoming a full member now as a baseball conference, and you watching it nationally, are you happy? Are you surprised? Like, kind of what are your thoughts on the athleticism? We've seen it defensively with the outfield and going from first to third and second to home. Guys actually kind of starting to run again. Do you like the way that the game is kind of moving to some degree?
I really do. And I think the West Coast influence is definitely there in that mix. I think the influence of the quote-unquote traditional Big Ten schools will influence the West Coast schools to get a little bit more physical with their offense. So I think that pairing we're going to see, we saw it a little bit this year, to your point, but I'm really excited, 3 years from now, how that calculus kind of all comes together. And I think we're going to see more physicality on the West Coast. And I think the influence on the pitching side especially is going to be really good for the Midwest and East Coast teams.
So, Connor, I've sort of been thinking about this big picture with Big Ten and baseball, and we've been talking about West Coast baseball a lot the last couple of weeks and how we've seen a migration to the Southeast, it seems like, with a lot of the talent. And I sit here and I kind of wonder, okay, I know a lot of those former Pac-12 schools weren't getting the money that that you do in the Southeast, but is it possible that the Big Ten might actually sort of save West Coast baseball with Oregon, UCLA, USC especially, and don't want to leave Washington out, but that the influx of money from the Big Ten we might see a little resurgence of those West Coast teams?
I think so. I do think it's mutually beneficial. Having a fan base like Nebraska can't be talked about enough to, kind of put some juice in the building the other day. It's obviously hard to walk into Charles Schwab Field and have it not feel like a big event just because of, the event at the end of June that gets held there. But I think so. I think there's a mutual benefit, not just in baseball, but obviously, UCLA was in a difficult spot financially before they joined the Big Ten. And, I've heard it called a life raft financially for UCLA to be in the Big Ten. But yeah, I think the value that UCLA has added, not just in baseball, but, we saw what they did in softball last night. They're in OKC again. Gymnastics is nationally ranked with, Jordan Childs, an Olympian, on their team. And obviously basketball is basketball, and their women's team was tremendous this year. So I think it was more than just a one-sided ad. And sometimes I think it's been written about and talked about that way. But I think UCLA has also added a lot to the conference outside of it being a kind of a financial windfall for them as well.
We were talking to Aaron Fitt last week, Connor, and we were talking about kind of this West Coast migration, and USC obviously is dab smack right there. And again, it's long past the Rod Dato days, but the potential of what they represent, and they've got an opportunity. How do you explain kind of what's gone on at Southern Cal? And for you, what do you think they should be along that coast in California, in particular as you watch the Oregons and Oregon States up north?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think their new stadium will be really, really important for them. Because this year they were going to Irvine, which is, I'm sure you guys have heard or sat in it yourself. LA traffic can make that a difficult commute. But they were playing at Great Park in Irvine this year, about 45 minutes, again, traffic dependent from campus. And it sounds like the stadium is going to be ready to go for next year. And talking to Andy Stankwitz, their head coach, he couldn't emphasize the impact that that's going to have more just from convenience. And, when you bring recruits on campus, you're actually going to have a home ballpark to show them rather than a construction site. So what they should and can be, to your question, is, maybe not necessarily exactly what they were in the early 2000s, but I don't think it's unrealistic to say that they can climb the college baseball power rankings like they did, and possibly, be a super regional and Omaha contending team like they were when they had, all those guys they were pumping into the big leagues.
Let me get you out on this, Connor. I appreciate your time. Is the team that you think is best built to win a regional the team that you think is the best built to survive not having a perfect record? Are there two different teams, or are they the same team?
Well, that's a really interesting question. I'm leaning toward the same team. I lean toward Oregon being built for that. But then you look at Nebraska and what they've done the last 2 years, and it's, you go through the elimination bracket, winning 5 games in a row. And I understand that was a different team, and they had Josh Caron, who's in the Mariners organization now, and Brett Sears, the pitcher of the year.
Yeah.
But even this year in Omaha, Nebraska loses their third baseman right before the semifinals. Rhett Stokes comes in and plays an awesome third base. Ravi Bolin, who had been their energy giver all tournament,
gets hurt.
Gets hurt in the first inning of the championship game, and they, do it basically with, Ty Horn pitching the game of his life, and then there's 6, 7, and 8 batters winning that championship game at the plate for them. So I lean toward Oregon just because the pitching is really, really good, but I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling the effect of that big crowd and the great run Nebraska just went on, but I do think there's a chance they can, but they got to win the first game. They got to win the first game.
What's the difference for you between even, and we didn't see it locally, but Oregon all year offensively had been pretty balanced, and it did not show up at the Big Ten tournament. But what's the difference for you between UCLA and Oregon offensively in a regional?
Yeah, to me, you can't pitch around Rock Chalowski, and that was a big difference for Nebraska. As they got him out 4 times. The Big Ten Player of the Year was 0 for 4 against Nebraska pitching in the championship game. But he's so well protected with Dean West at the top, on base percentage for most of the year in the upper 400s, and then Lulla Lavu, their 3-hole hitter, was a 70 RBI guy plus near the top of the country as far as major conference players. So I think that's one difference, where those guys have been pretty steady at the top all year. And with Oregon, it's been kind of depended on who's on the mound. They've been really good against righties, but I thought it was brilliant.
Struggled mightily. That's when Nebraska struggled mightily against lefties. The percentage points are staggering.
They are. They really are. And it was brilliant what they did, what Nebraska did with, Brockett for 6. And then another lefty behind him with Will Walsh. So
that's our guy, Connor Onion, play-by-play, Big Ten Network, Fox Sports. Connor, really appreciate you joining us today, giving us a little whip around of the Big Ten teams in the regionals, and hope you enjoy the rest of the season.
Good stuff. Appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, thanks, guys. Enjoy the tournament.
That's Connor Onion, Big Ten Network, and Fox Sports. Hey, you was talking about the traffic from USC to Irvine.
Yeah.
Get a little traffic issues of our own here in Omaha during the college baseball tournament. If you're like me and you're like, hey, I don't even want to deal with trying to get down close enough for the bus that goes around the stadium, you can just park at Westroads for free, take an Orbit bus all the way down to the stadium. Metro Transit's got you covered there. It's $250 round trip. I guarantee you can't park for that price downtown. Make sure you check out ometro.com to see what your options are. get your route planned, and maybe save yourself a little heartache when you're trying to figure out how to get down to that baseball tournament. Coming up here right now. You want to take a quick break or go right to him?
No, let's get right to him.
All right. We got our guy, Matt Vrzal, former Husker owner of Piezons. What's up, Verz?
What's up, fuckers?
How you doing, buddy?
I am good today thus far.
You've got what's the scribble in the background? What did you cross out already?
Well, I only had one when he called me an idiot last week, so I just didn't want to waste a sheet of paper. So I just crossed that off.
Oh, frugal Matt Vrzal these days.
Well, it was a pretty good effort by you to not be an asshat.
Hanging in there. I told Ravi, I said, he's going to get me.
Hold on.
What the world is going on?
I think he's leaving.
I don't know. He probably's got a shirt for me or something.
Oh, we're
this dude is like undressing.
No.
What do we got?
You see this?
What is that's some people jumping around. There's a guy in the field. What is that?
After they hit a home run, they do the jump thing.
Yeah.
That's my nephew biting it right there.
Dude, that is sweet. That's got to be all mom that did that, right? Is that
Nope.
Gone?
Nope. Our one of our wonderful bartender servers at Piezons, Megan Dagnar, made that. I got the picture, said, "Hey, I need this in a shirt for him," and she just looks at me and she goes, "You're an asshole." I was like, "I know."
Hey, how's he
guess
feeling?
what?
He's
Guess what? Who else got one? Everybody in the family was like sending me sizes. Like, I need a small, I need a medium, I need an extra large.
How's he feeling? Getting
feeling better.
Well,
Yeah.
He's got some good swings in.
I asked him, I was like, "Hey, what the fuck was that?" And he goes, "Bro, I haven't seen live AB in 3 weeks or 2 weeks." He's like, "What do you expect?" So,
You asked your nephew WTF, and he has how many pounds? He lost like 15, 20 pounds. What do we talk? What do you mean WTF?
man, build a bridge and get over it. We ain't got time.
Wow.
Hey, have we found that kid from Michigan State's address yet to send him a thank you?
No, but
Pico.
that's part of baseball.
Pico.
Season
Hard sport.
Season over.
Yeah.
He catches that ball.
That's fine. You got to catch a break.
And why you jumping Mitch's ass too? You think they were going to get in as a 4 seed?
Who?
If they didn't win that tournament?
No, I didn't jump him.
You kind of jumped his ass.
No, I didn't. See,
It was a little aggressive.
This is what sidecar trolley guys do. They come in on the side and they don't really know where we're driving.
It was a little
I
aggressive.
asked Mitch what he thought their seed would be. And I was replying to somebody that said they could get to a 2. And I was like, they can't get to a 2 because they had to play their way in. So they were starting as a 4. Best case scenario was a 3. And your boy was right. I didn't jump Mitch. Mitch and I were on the same page. And why would you defend that guy?
I'm not defending anybody. I'm just don't know why you're jumping Mitch's ass.
No,
Mitch is a good guy.
That's not what happened. It was your other
Do you know the best part about your Twitter? When I read your Twitter, I read it in tone.
Yeah, that you probably can because
I do all the time.
Know me.
And I know some of your passive aggressive moves. I'm like, oh, don't fall for this Twitter person. He's setting you up. He's setting you up, dude. Don't do it. Don't do it. And then this Twitter person is like, oh, I think this, that, and the other. Dave's like, bam. Got him.
It's a heck of a. Those guys apparently like each other, man. How cool is that? Like to play on a team that you get where the guys get along.
Well, it is. I mean, that's the one thing. Like when you were talking to Onions,
yeah,
it's if I'm going to construct a roster right now in college baseball, the last thing that I take is a PO. Okay. Because I want 35 guys. I want 6 outfielders. I want 7 to 8 infielders, 2 catchers, and everybody else is pitching and has played a position. Okay. Because it's an arms race. The best teams have the best pitching. But if I have, and you love to, because he was a dog. But that Jake Myers guy, it's like, okay, you're gonna play center, you're gonna hit, and then you're gonna come in and pitch because we need you to. Like that, I think builds me the most efficient roster. If I don't go that way, then I knock out, an infielder, and I have 7 infielders, 5 outfielders, and everybody else is 2 catchers, and everybody else is pitching. And everybody in the infield can play every position. And then I go because I have to have so much pitching now because pitching's got to be good.
You don't make these late season runs the way that they do without those guys having pretty good chemistry too, man. That staff had to have done a pretty good job keeping everybody like pretty even keeled.
I think it's a smart group. They know, Timmerman took one off the face, kind of an emotional guy. Like he's a spark plug for him. So you get him back, Ty Horn rounded into form. Credit to Ty in the 7th to look into the dugout and just put up the one finger and say one more. Credit to Childress and Bolt to give him the one more because I don't think that always happens in the regular season. And then, Dice, who's been much maligned, said, hey, not today. I'm going to be a dude. And I'm not letting my guys down, and just went out and dealt and got the last 3 outs and they win it. So it's baseball and camaraderie go hand in hand. You can have sects on a football team. You can have different little groups, but baseball, you got to be that crew because it's a game of futility.
Travels so much together.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're around each other a lot.
Well, and I mean, you got to enjoy the mental makeup of the pitching staff because it's not like any of those guys had super smooth seasons. You mentioned Timmerman obviously getting taken off the face. Ty Horn had his struggles.
How about our boy
and Christo?
You think Monty's like tickled over Drew's perseverance?
I think that's the one constant with Drew.
Yeah,
is that good outing, bad outing, Drew will be back out there, and he's a tough kid.
I think it's cool now. He's become the high leverage guy, right? It's like, hey, ducks on the pond. Bring in the hammer, and he's like,
I know I'm old. But if I ever have children, that's what position they will not play. Pitcher. Because I ain't doing that. No, sir.
I don't think you got to worry about it, buddy. What are you, about 61?
I'm about 6 months younger than you.
Dude, I don't think those jokers are still swimming, are they? Them guys are drowning, aren't they?
Hey, they are potent.
Did you say M?
Oh, you guys froze up. There we go.
That's great. I'm glad you didn't hear that. I thought you said impotent.
No, I heard what you said. This is going to be a challenge.
It's going on the list.
IMPO.
Oh, I got that one.
That's no, Maddie. That's just my ebonics kicking in. I meant to say important. Seriously, don't put that up there. I said important. Maddie.
I got it.
No,
asshole comment about my swimmers.
Wow.
God, there's such a terrible joke I could tell right now, and I can't tell it.
Why?
Because you get all huffy on me.
Me mad at you? No way. Why would I be mad at you?
I gotta go. I can't even. I'm gonna have to be watching the game on the phone. I gotta run to L-Town tonight. I'm maintaining my 20-year run as Uncle of the Year. Cashman's got some deal tonight, so I gotta run to Lincoln.
Did you just celebrate him last week with graduation?
Yep. And then there's some other thing. Listen, man. When the redhead calls in a panic, by the way, she wants to know when the cookout is. When the redhead calls,
oh yeah, she's in. Yeah, we've been. Yep, she's in. And she's cool anyway.
Gingers are brothers and sisters now.
Yes. And she can she can hold her own. I don't have to worry about her at the cookout. She'll be fine.
But anyway, so I get the call and it says, hey, not could you, are you? You need to be here in Lincoln at this time. So, got it.
Do you even know what you're supposed to be doing?
Nope. Listen, man, sometimes you just don't ask questions. You just go.
Especially to her.
Yeah. So, and she's just landed in North Carolina right now, too. So
I'm glad they're
Good luck, Chapel Hill.
Hey. So I got my answer. So I was joking all week about asking Benny Mac he couldn't hear. He doesn't know. And I said to Ravi, I go, I should ask B Mac, to grab me some gear. But he's so loyal and through. He's going to be like, I'm not buying you any North Carolina gear. And I said, so he would either say that or he'd say, well, if I beg, like he may. He came on air yesterday. He said the exact same thing. He said, I'm not going out of my way to buy you anything, but if I stumbled into something, I would grab some gear. Would Megan grab me some North Carolina gear, maybe?
Yeah, she's getting me a Lawrence Taylor shirt.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet you, I wonder how quickly she could find that. A Carolina Blue 56.
Well,
You ever seen a woman shop?
Go ahead. Let Maddie hear that. That sounds like Maddie after a gummy or two.
Well, you gotta understand though, it didn't affect my play.
Interview asked him about doing blow.
God, what a great time in the world.
80s NFL?
Just LT coked out of his brain trying to just kill people.
Oh, that's sensational. God, I miss it.
You wouldn't take 80s football? Like, that stuff was
I'd
awesome.
probably pass on the Coke, but yeah, I'll take 80s football.
You're kind of a
diet guy,
though.
Yeah, more of a diet guy.
You don't want to lose control of anything.
I mean, nothing Bacardi 151 couldn't solve back in the day, right?
Well, you gotta.
Did you drink that lighter fluid?
It's part of the problem, Matt. It's
Wow.
part of the problem.
151?
Yeah.
Jesus, just take some Everclear next time.
Let's blame old Larry Arnold on that one.
Oh, yeah. LA.
Got me started. There's no looking back after that.
He got you started on that?
Yeah.
What'd you mix it with?
Coke.
Ooh. I thought you'd go something like fruitier. Like
Yeah.
pineapple or something.
And look at the 180 I've done now. See, I'm all grown up. I don't mix anything, and I definitely
You mix booze with booze.
when I want to, hey,
hey man, that ain't a mixer.
And then
That's what I'm doing.
And then he tries to convince me that it's less booze than if he hadn't mixed it with the more booze.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is. It is.
If you add
You
booze,
think when you put the two boozes together, it negates some booze?
Yes.
no, he said one's less alcohol by volume, so it's
So it
less
lowers the other one?
Yeah, it does not. I told him that's not how it works.
So the one overtakes the other one and lowers it.
I mean, hey, it's watering it down.
Hey, you do you, man.
No, watering down requires
Thank you,
water.
Nice cheering for me. Hey,
watering it down would be the 3 ice cubes that hopefully melt in there. When the ice lasts like 3 seconds, you know you have too much booze in there.
Hey, did you celebrate with Malcolm?
So we have a tradition. The boys, yes, you owe me money. The boys, they come in after the semis and they eat. So they came in the party room and ate, and they're Sean and the crew, they do a good job, and they got a shit ton of guys. They had like 40 dudes.
Yeah, they overtook the Phoenix 370 right out there off of 370 right after the game.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
I mean, just overtook the place.
Yeah.
So when I said you should have given me 4.5 or 5.5 runs, had you seen the score yet?
Nope. I gave you 5. I was getting Malcolm text updates though, but I was working.
That's weird. Because I text him and I go, man, you gave me 1.5. You should have given me 5.5. And a little later on, he goes, what's the score? And I go 10-0. And he goes, you can have 9.5.
Not true. I said you can have 5.5 because I'm nice like that.
All right, buddy. Are you
You had
optimistic?
some people getting after you too that said it should have been 20 a run.
I mean, listen, they scored 4 runs in an inning without a hit, buddy.
You gotta make it happen, dude. However you got to do it, you got to do it.
No, that's good baseball. I mean, it's a good baseball team. They just are.
When text me when Zobear's next couple games are. I'm gonna have to make an appearance at one of those.
Okay. She's got hitting lessons today. At some
Weird.
point. I don't know what time. What?
If only there was a guy I knew back in the 90s.
I'm trying to preserve the father.
I think it was like 90,
I don't want to hate me this early.
89 to 91, 92 maybe.
Man.
They could just hit the shit out of the ball and then slew-footed run to first base, maybe second.
I'm not slew-foot.
God, who was that guy that could?
Maddie, I'm trying to save the relationship.
Jeez, I think his name.
He's an idiot.
God, I'm gonna have to make some calls.
Hey, buddy. Nice. I'm not even. I corrected my. I'm knees over toes now, buddy. So we're not doing the whole slew foot thing anymore. I fixed it.
I have to see that to believe it.
I see you. All right,
I have to see you run. You're gonna have to run 40.
All six wanted me.
What could you 5'9"?
5'9".
What could you run a 40 in right now?
5'9".
5'9"? Oh, stop.
5'5".
You got an easy
no,
flat.
About 5'5".
5 flat.
Maddie.
Will you teach Zoe how to hit? You don't need a hitting coach. You are the hitting coach.
Jeez, that's a nice thing he said about you.
No,
Look at
do you
that.
know why he's saying that? Because he knows that she won't like me if that happens.
No. That is not true. Take that back. That is mean.
Oh,
I would never think that.
Okay, sorry. Weirdo.
There's a certain bond, and I lived it. Because Terry Vrzal taught Megan Vrzal how to play.
Mm-hmm.
And she played like a boy. Like she was cleats up, may or may not have punched a girl. I don't know. The video was grainy.
I was going to say balls or fist up like a dude too.
But there's a certain bond that happens there where your competitive nature filters into her. And then she is good like you and competitive like you. Like, I think that's I don't think you guys would get mean with each other. I think she would love it.
Yeah. No.
I think it'd be great. And you can hit the shit out of the ball.
Maybe once upon a time, maybe.
You can still swing it. Don't act like
that I'm way confident in. I'm not going to sandbag. I can still.
That don't leave you. Hand-eye don't leave you.
I can still do that.
Yeah.
But
so now you're going to turn it over to some other person?
Well, baby steps, Matt. Baby.
Come on, dude.
Wow.
I'm mildly pissed now.
I know you are too, because you're turning colors.
Yeah. Well, no, that's just my awesome tan.
That ain't it.
I look tan, not tan like you.
You do actually.
Yeah.
Were you laying out?
No, the Nugget just tans.
He said, "Nah." It's that SPF 90.
Nope, beef tallow. I'm off of it. No more chemicals into my bloodstream. TikTok taught me that.
Wait a minute. You're wiping down with beef tallow?
Yeah, they make a whole line of skincare products made out of beef tallow.
Don't go camping with that. That might go poorly for you.
God, why are these bears following me?
Do you think I would go camping?
I don't know.
Oh, that's good point. That's a good point.
Know your audience here, fellas.
That's a good point.
Fair.
There's as much of a chance of me to go camping as Damon to go camping. Not very high.
Fair enough.
Air dap. All right, buddy. Be good.
No. I don't want to.
All right.
Then be bad then, I guess.
Seriously, when are we teaching hitting lessons? I'll get you on the field over at Scott.
I'll bring her in this weekend.
Well, we can't do it at Piezons. Oh, we could do it in the party room. Move the tables out.
I'm sure with all the baseball on, I won't feel like cooking anyway. I'll bring her in to grab some pizza.
She's going to love that.
Yeah. She's a good listener.
When she ropes her first double in the gap, she's going to be so happy, and you're going to cry.
I literally was trying to teach her what a strike zone was last night without losing my mind. Do you know what I did?
Change your coaching style, because I've seen you coach football.
I screenshot watching ESPN and the batters with the red zone and the cool zone, and I blew it up, and that's how I taught her. No, it's pretty cool. I
don't know if we need to go that in depth yet. She's like 6.
No, do you not? You know this girl. Do you know the question she asked me?
That's fine. We'll get to that later.
It's to the knees. It's over the plate. And you can swing and it's a strike, and they can call it a strike.
Yes, Zoe, all of that. Let me tell you why. Maddie, I'm telling you, you know this girl. She's talking in complete sentences when she was 3. You think she isn't wondering about called strikes? Yeah.
It's a hitter's game. Just got a big zone and swing.
I'm trying to teach her, buddy. All right. I'll see you later.
All right, Verz. Have a good weekend.
See you, boys.
Shane cut him off. He's gonna get mad at Shane now.
Yeah, something ugly was coming.
He's gonna. We heard the first part of it. That's all we've got for you this week. That's DB. I'm Ravi.
Do you want me to put him back up there?
No.
No, we're good.
Are you sure?
We're over time here.
I mean, I can.
No.
Relax.
He's gonna say something crazy.
Shane, can I end the show? We good?
No, I want to keep going.
You want to work overtime today?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. All right, DB and I will be back on Monday. I don't know about Shane yet. We'll decide after the show. It's Hurrdat Sports Live. We'll see you Monday. Have a good weekend.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.